Any tip when you make that California trip? Get your kicks on Route
Route
66.
66. Yeah.
Ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-boop-boop.
You ever been on Route 66?
I have.
Wow.
I've been on a few lengths of it.
Where does
If
it
you,
start? Where does it end?
it starts in St. Louis and it
Missouri.
ends. It ends at the Santa Monica Pier in California.
Oh, that's where I want to go. That's perfect. I don't have to. You don't
So
have to get directions.
I'll have you know. I don't know if this is
Mhm.
going to be on the show. We're live though, right?
We're
And we're
live, but it's not in
live.
the.
We're
It's
recording.
not in the proper show. It's just the setup.
All right. Well, for
Checking my camera.
those who are in the setup, I first went on historic Route 66 when I lived in Missouri. I was going to. I borrowed a friend's car and I had to drive to a prison because I was
A woman's
interviewing.
prison for research.
I was interviewing two prisoners because I was doing. This is going to sound macabre, but I won an award for it. I did a story about incest, and I interviewed two prisoners that were in jail for abusing family members.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it was sad, but anyway, on the
When you
way to
said
the
that, my mind went to like the adult websites.
no, no, no,
But
no.
this
It's
is
and
the
now,
bad
now it,
kind.
yeah, it's
This
not.
is the
It
bad kind.
wasn't step incest.
Okay.
But yeah, but on my way there, on my way to this penitentiary, wherever it was, somewhere in the hinterlands of Missouri,
Hmm.
I found myself driving on Route 66. And it was like painted on the road, and like the big red, blue, and white sign saying historic Route 66. And then many, many, many years later, I went to California with Laura, and we're driving down from Northern California into LA, and we were staying in Santa Monica. And it turns out that at the end of our trip, we get onto Route 66, and Route 66 ends at the Santa Monica Pier, which I never knew. And I said, "Oh my God, I was on maybe from the beginning of Route 66, and now I'm at the end of Route 66 because it starts in St. Louis, I believe. So I was in Missouri somewhere on Route 66, just just west of St. Louis, and
West Dakota.
then I was at its westernmost terminus. So I've been to the
Um,
beginning and the end. I haven't been all the way through though.
Santa Monica Pier. Isn't that where Caitlin and Raymond's apartment was
Yes,
in the
that's
first
where
episode?
no, it was where Ben and Addison's apartment was.
Oh, that's right. They don't live together in real life. I've already
Right, right,
asked them
right,
that.
right, right. They're
Yeah.
not Bert and Ernie.
No.
No.
Congratulations to them, by the way, coming out. I'm proud of them. All right, let me get my claps. Oh my goodness! I went on a YouTube. I'll save it for the show.
I thought we were in the show. I
Oh,
already
I don't
told my
know.
Route 66 story. I'm out of
Oh, you
stories.
might have to tell it again. That way I don't have to edit it because there's something about Santa Monica. Hello, Trek Explorers, and welcome back to Trek Exploration. I'm Albie,
And I'm Chris.
and today we are talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 18, Home Soil.
Home soil.
How you doing, Chris? Before
That
we started,
sounds-
we were talking about incest, prisons, and Route 66. Where do you want
Right?
to go?
Yeah. I don't know. Home soil sounds very jingoistic, doesn't it? It's like very bellicose.
Very bellicose. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'll look that up later.
Klingons are also very bellicose.
Yeah, that's what I thought, especially the
Yeah.
Discovery ones.
So
So it's been a while. We pre-recorded that holiday special, which did very well, by the way. Our watch-along for Star Trek Generations. I was very happy with that. People seem to like that. And they're liking our shorts for some reason. I usually don't put my shorts on camera, but I wear them because it's Florida. So
yeah. Well, I have shorts. They're under my jeans, but it's a
it's
private.
it's cold up there. It's 57
thing.
here. What is it there?
It was somewhere in the 30s today. That's why I'm wearing my
Wow.
flannel. Wearing my flannel, my new flannel.
That's nice. Oh,
Yeah.
correction for the Star Trek Generations watch along. I think I said your shirt was gingham. When I was watching on the big screen, it's actually plaid, right?
It wasn't either. It's just a shirt with some red lines on it.
Oh, some like a grid pattern.
Yeah, it's just a grid pattern. Yeah.
So correction.
Yeah, it wasn't gingham because then I'd feel like Dorothy Gale, but it would be red gingham. So I would be like the Mirror Universe Dorothy Gale, right?
Okay.
Because
I
she was
like
in
it.
blue gingham, right?
Blue, yes.
And it wasn't plaid. It
The
was
red
not
gingham
plaid.
was from Red Dwarf. And when they went crazy, they all wore like red gingham dresses, and one of them had a penguin puppet.
I need to watch that
Very
episode.
interesting. You need to watch the whole series. They're short episodes. They're 22 minutes. You get through it quick,
Got you.
So you won an award. Tell me about this journalistic award you won.
Oh, we're going back to the pre-discussion that before we were introduced into the podcast. But everybody who was watching on the live feed heard this already.
All right.
I went to a prison in Missouri when I was in journalism school. I was doing a story about incest. I don't know how it came up or how I pitched it or why my news director accepted it. But I did like a multi-part series, and part of it was going to a prison somewhere in the hinterlands of Missouri to interview 2 inmates who were in for abusing family members. I guess that's just kind of what you do as a journalist. It's kind of surreal to me now that I did that. I was like 21 when I did that. It was crazy.
Yeah, they're not all fun stories about ice cream vendors. That's
no,
35 years.
Not at all. But anyway, we were talking about, because I was singing Route 66, and I had discovered that part of the trip to that prison, I had borrowed a friend's car to get there, and it proclaimed in big, bold painting on the highway that I was on historic Route 66, which is the fabled road that goes through America, I guess, before the interstates were around.
A song and a TV series, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. And then there was a comic by CrossGen Comics called Route 666, and I loved it because it was kind of like Supernatural, but a comic. Yeah, I used to love all the CrossGen stuff. But anyway, getting back to the story I told you, I discovered that I know that Route 66 begins in St. Louis. So I was sort of at the beginning of it, but then many, many years later, Laura and I were in California. We were in Northern California. We took a drive down Route 1 down the Coast Highway. And our destination was Santa Monica. And that's in LA. It turns out that Route 66 ends at the Santa Monica Pier. So I had no idea. I'm getting into LA. I don't like LA. I've been there a number of times. But we're driving into LA. We're getting to the 3rd Street Promenade, where Santa Monica kind of, it's like staying at a fucking mall. And we're live. But anyway, but it said Route 66, and then it ends at the pier. And I had no idea. So I've been to Route 66. I was at the beginning of Route 66, right west of St. Louis, and I was at the terminus of Route 66 many years later, but I've never actually driven the length of Route 66, which I'd love to do because I love driving.
Yeah, that would be fun. In my younger days, when I wanted to be night rider, before I had a kid and everything, and I was just wanting to buy one of those brand new at the time, I think 2003 Firebirds, the ones that were like a little bubbly. And I wanted to just drive across country in a leather jacket and hopefully get into mischief every week.
All right, Bandit. Eastbound and down. Albie's out there trucking.
That'd be fun.
You're going to meet Sally Field. It's going to be great. I'm telling you.
So
Jackie Gleason is going to chase you from beyond the grave.
So if we get the right funding, Albie and Chris on Route 66. Now that's a podcast.
Holy crap. I'd have to fly back to St. Louis. I haven't been there in about 20 years.
Yeah. I could
30 years. Holy, what am I saying? 20 years, 30 years. I was in school in 1990. The last time I was in St. Louis, it was probably 1992.
Yeah, I got a couple weeks vacation next year with Rennie, and we might as well drive the whole route, right? Rent a car.
I guess. Yeah. I guess. Why not?
You're a family man with a real job, so probably not.
Hey, listen, I've driven across country twice since those days, and it was from New York to Colorado and back.
I did Florida to Colorado.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I love. If you don't like driving, it's not for you.
Love driving, but
that
was to escape a hurricane. So I don't know why we went all the way to Colorado. Just an excuse to hang out with Juan for a week. Right? Yeah, Juan has an awesome place. Juan Morrow from the Quantum Leap podcast and Thinking Outside the Long Box. Great guy.
Hi, Juan, if you're listening.
Yeah. And 11/22/63, he helped produce that. That was great.
Yes, it's the one. It cemented my reputation with Juan for the worse.
So many calls. You told them an hour, right? I did. 3-hour shows come in. I never told you to. I love the 3-hour shows.
You never told me to stop.
No, I didn't. It was just pure gold. It's pure gold.
He's like, Albie gave me the rope-a-dope. He said these shows were going to be an hour, and they're like 3 hours, and they just kept getting longer.
And at least we alternated on them, I think.
I think Juan got sick of my voice. I think he's just
I could never get sick of your voice.
he's disgusted with the very idea of me at this point.
You could read the phone book, and I would just listen in awe.
Anyway.
So yeah, we pre-recorded Star Trek Generations, and so we haven't really sat down and spoken a couple weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not on mic and really not in any substantive way personally either. It's been,
No, I still text you 3 times a minute, but I don't know if you even read them.
oh, I read them. I just, you know what? I'm an old and I don't live on my phone like all of you young whippersnappers do.
Yeah,
you know?
whippersnappers.
Sometimes my phone dies a lot too, you know? So,
Might be time for a new one. Maybe if we
Yeah.
get a sponsor by Apple or Samsung,
I'd like
whoever
to get
wants to
the,
sponsor us.
I want the
Sponsor us.
Motorola Razor. I like the
Do they still
Razor.
have that?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
new?
the Razor. It's like the clamshell.
Ah,
So it's like the new one. I was gonna get the Z Flip, the Samsung Z Flip, or the Motorola.
that sounds like your
the
name.
Razor. Yeah, Z Flip, D Flip.
maybe the jitterbug. Maybe the jitterbug that opens and closes, doesn't it? It's got big letters on it.
Jitterbug, wake me up and make me
Before you
go.
hanging on like a yo-yo. Wham! They're going to be big one day.
Yeah, you know it.
When
You
did
know it.
Whamageddon start for you over the holidays? That's what we didn't talk about, the holidays. How was your holidays, Chris?
Oh, my holidays were great. We hosted Christmas Eve for 5 people, but
I
I
did
still
not
cooked
get an
it.
invite.
I cooked a giant ham. Well, it was ham.
Yeah,
You weren't
we
gonna
weren't
eat
going to
it.
eat it.
Yeah,
ham,
no.
no.
But I did roast a bunch of beets, and I made like a whole thing of root vegetables. I roasted so many vegetables because my nephew is a vegetarian, just like
Oh, cool.
sort of like you guys. You're vegan, but
I'm omnivorous. Serenity's vegan.
right. So there would have been stuff for Serenity to eat if she likes beets and root vegetables.
Yeah, she likes vegetables.
And we made mashed potatoes. I had purple mashed potatoes.
Oh, I saw a picture of those. That was
Yes,
great. Could you put like one in or something?
Yeah, well, we got a whole bunch of stuff from the farm, and I was just making. Honestly, my entire Christmas Eve dinner was everything left from the farm from the fall pickup that I hadn't used yet, and that included one giant purple potato. And I was just like, "This is going in the mashed potatoes. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to ruin everything." But I peeled that sucker. I sliced it. I threw it in the boiling water, and we had purple potatoes.
Was
purple
it good?
mashed
Was it
potatoes.
appetizing? Unappetizing? Was it good?
I gotta tell you, the purple potato was actually very mellow and kind of sweet. So it brought a new dimension to my usual mashed potatoes, and everybody enjoyed it. So I'm not gonna say, hey, I'll never do it again. I will gladly throw another purple potato into my mashed potatoes. I'm booking all of my Irish ancestors. They're going to come down upon me every holiday season and try to correct me, but I'll fight them off like a Winchester boy.
So
How
you're
about you?
Irish and Italian,
I'm
and
Irish,
from Long Island.
I'm Irish and German on my mother's side, and Itai on my dad's side.
Is it true about that potato thing? That a story I keep hearing that like the parents survived because they ate potato skins, but the kids didn't because they just ate the good part of the potatoes and there wasn't enough nutrition.
I've never heard that before, but I was always. It's funny you say that because every time we had potatoes when I was a kid, they peeled them. They threw the peels away.
Yeah.
And then they since learned like it was something new sometime when I was in my teens that's where all the nutrients are, the peels, and then they started making mashed potatoes with the peels on them.
Yeah. I like the red smashed potatoes. Those are good.
I still peel my potatoes when I'm making mashed potatoes for the most part, unless it's just me and Laura, you know. I don't know.
I mean, we don't have to worry about getting our nutritions from
Well,
potato peels.
that's the thing. We're
luckily.
not in the middle of a famine, so
Right, but if you are, then you eat those potato peels. Sometimes I used to fry them up like potato chips, and they're pretty good.
Wow. So what did you do for Christmas? I know you had Rennie for like 7 days straight.
Well, before Christmas, though, I had her because her mom had her during Christmas proper. So we kind of moved all our holidays around, and luckily Hanukkah was later on because we celebrate all the holidays. So at least we try. So we had our different holidays on different days. So like Christmas Eve was earlier than real Christmas Eve, but we had a good time. I wrapped so many presents. I had been wrapping as I went because I try to buy throughout the year things that I know she's still going to like in a few months or whatever. And I filled one closet, and then like at the end you panic and you're like, did I get enough? I don't know. Because when I was a kid, you know, I would wake up Christmas morning and I would be buried in presents basically by my parents. So I was an only child of their second marriage. But so I always worry, is it going to be enough? You know, I don't want to disappoint her. What if she doesn't like half of it? Then I got to get her double the amount just so like it averages out and stuff. So then I had so much to wrap the night before. I was up all night, but I got it done. Got it done. It was fun.
I didn't wrap any of Laura's presents until 10 minutes before she unwrapped them downstairs. She's like, "Why are you even wrapping them?" And I said, "Shush, it's Christmas. Let me wrap them. I'll bring them down soon."
I thought about that as I was cleaning up all the wrapping paper. I was like, they got a racket going on. You pay for all this wrapping paper. It's very beautiful and stuff. But I mean, what? It gets a couple hours of use. And
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You
I didn't
wanna
wrap the
know-
plushes. I gave up. I just set them on top of the presents.
I know how that is because whenever we get dog toys, it's always plushes, and it's always just like this weird. It's almost like you're making like a candy wrapper out of it. It's just like you just got to give up after a while.
I can wrap presents really well. I actually make like bags out of wrapping paper and stuff, but I just ran out of time and I gave up.
All right. Well, how about New Year? What did you do for New Year's?
New Year's, she was with her mom for New Year's, but I had her in between Christmas and New Year's. It's all kinds of legal contract stuff. But so we did New Year's Eve the night before. And what did we do? We watched 8 Crazy Nights for Hanukkah,
Gotcha.
I think. But we didn't. We were going to watch like New Year's Eve or When Harry Met Sally, but it was just everything was taking so long and time was going by so fast. We ended up only watching the one movie. So.
Okay.
But I mean, we celebrated. We watched a little bit of the old Miley Cyrus New Year's Eve party that she did a couple years ago on NBC, and we had sparkling white grape juice. Yeah.
Wow, fancy.
Yeah. So next year will be more fun. I'll have her for like a couple weeks straight because of Christmas and the holidays and stuff.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was enjoyable.
I'm glad. Well,
Yes.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year
It's
to all the
2025,
Trexplorers, right?
or we don't want to date it.
Trexploration 2025.
Trexploration 2025. Her favorite gift, she said her Red Ryder BB gun for the year was I don't know if I sent you a picture, the Friends Lego set I got her. She's
I don't know if I saw that. You probably sent it to me. I don't know if I saw
Probably you're in the group chat with Allison. But yeah, it's just a huge Lego set. I don't know how many thousands of pieces, but it's Joey and Chandler's apartment and Monica's apartment and the hallway in between. So it's huge.
What do you do with that?
We put it together and then we'll find a shelf somewhere.
But it's huge.
It's
you gotta
huge.
build a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, well, we're building 2 shelves now for all the Funko Pops that she has because they're just everywhere. And when they fall, you know, they get dented and damaged and stuff. So.
I got my 3. I got my 3 right here.
She's easily got over 100, I'm sure. And then I got my Ready Player
3.
One ones and
They
stuff.
they
Star
sing
Trek
about
ones.
tossed salad and scrambled eggs, Mike.
That's what they should do. Funko Pop of tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Were there any tossed salads or scrambled eggs in this episode of Star Trek to the Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 18? Are we on 18 already?
18 already.
Home
18
Soil. Home Soil.
Home soil.
It was, original air date was February 22nd, 1988. Ooh, 88. It was story by Robert Sabaroff, Carl Guars, Ralph Sanchez.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Robert Sabaroff.
Sabaroff?
Carl Giris. Carl Giris. Why do we say Giris?
Dean Jarrett, DeGeris. I
Right.
can't even say that one. Ralph Sanchez. I can say that. That's a pretty easy name. Teleplay by Robert Sabaroff,
I like
Sabaroff, and directed by Corey Allen. So that's
Corey
pretty
Allen.
cool. Not the
Isn't
actor, the director.
Isn't Corey Allen the name of the main character of Boy Meets World? No, it's
That
Corey
I don't
Matthews.
know.
That's
I thought
Corey
it was.
Matthews. Corey Matthews.
I think it's the actor who was in Suddenly Human in Next Generation, the blonde guy. He was a blonde kid from like TV back then.
No, that was Tommy Westfall from St. Elsewhere, from the Tommy Westfall verse.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
kid?
I don't know the kid's name, his real name, but
Might have been Corey Allen. If not, it might have been Alan Corey. I don't know. Ooh, Alan Chris. I like this. Before we get started, could you read the episode synopsis, Chris?
I can, and I will.
Thank
you. Here we go. Episode synopsis of Home Soil. The Enterprise is mapping the Pleiades cluster, not Custer, Custer's last stand, The Enterprise is mapping the Pleiades cluster when they realize they just happen to be by the planet Valara 3, which is home to a Federation terraforming project. Commence cast members telling the audience what terraforming is. Sounds so sciencey and terrific, so why not drop by and say, hey? Well, maybe not such a good idea. After repeated unanswered hails, project director Kurt Mendel picks up the phone and he's, well, Kurt. What do you want, Picard? We're on a very tight schedule. Buzz off. Troi pipes up. Captain, he's panicked and fearful at our arrival. He's hiding something. So Picard decides to keep buzzing on and sends a landing party down to the station. There, Riker, Yor, Troi, Geordi, and Data meet station personnel Louisa Kim, Arthur Melanchon, and Bjorn Benson. Kim then proceeds to explain, a la Carol Marcus explaining Genesis, what terraforming is for the second time in 10 minutes. And seriously, do you writers think anyone watching Trek is unfamiliar with the concept of terraforming? It's like right in the name. Anyway, Mandel strides in, full of bluster and charm, and hey, see how great we are. Arthur, time for you to go into the laser room and do the terraforming stuff. Arthur soldiers in and disaster. The doors seal and Melanchon is killed by the laser array. Data investigates and the laser turns on him too. It's only the fact of his superior android engineering that saves him. Picard orders the terraforming team beamed up to the ship and launches an investigation. What is Mendel hiding? Data and Geordi soon find out. Seems there are strange flashes in the lifeless sands of Alara 3 that indicate signs of intelligence. They beam the light. What? How do you beam light? Anyway, they beam light right onto the ship and soon discover that it is a life form. An inorganic life form, but life nonetheless. Not only that, the life form is growing and soon connects with the ship's computer. Hey, ugly bags of mostly water, the life form says. We tried to tell you we were here, not alive, but still kicking, and you ignored us and tried to kill us with your fancy terraforming. We declare war. Soon, ship's energy is being diverted to the growing inorganic microbrain, as it has been dubbed, and it threatens to destroy the Enterprise. But in a twist straight out of Superman 4, the crew discovers that the microbrain feeds on light. So Picard orders lights out, and the microbrain is like, no, please spare us. Picard, on his never-ending quest for peace, see that connection there, is like, we see you now. We respect you. They come to a detente, and he beams the microbrain back to the wet sands of Alara 3, and the inorganic life says, hey, come back in 300 years, you primitive douches, and maybe we can talk then. Picard says, okie dokie, and ponders lessons learned. The end. This time, for the first time, I guess, on Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 18, Home Soil, Ugly Bags of Mostly Water. That's this episode. Everybody remembers the ugly bags of mostly water.
And the first time they say ugly giant bags of mostly water. Was it 300 years or 3,000 years? My brain went to 3,000 for some reason.
No. You're thinking, in the year 3,000.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I think that it was 300 years. Yeah, because I was thinking, like, when are they going to get back? And it's in between the last season of Picard and the
third season of Disco?
Third season of Disco? Anyway.
So, first impressions, Chris.
I know. Do you want me to do, or you want to go?
I can go. You just ejaculated a mouthful. So, for me, it was a great episode. I liked the writing, and it didn't fall down until the end.
Oh, all right. I look forward to hearing how that is. Mm-hmm. All right. I have to say, once again, first season, Next Generation keeps surprising me. This to me is like quintessential Star Trek. Mm-hmm. I think this episode is terrific. Mm-hmm. I'm I like to joke when I'm doing the synopsises, and like for me, this was almost like scientific method, the episode. But I really think that this is at the heart of what Star Trek is all about in so many ways. So I'd love to discuss it further, but before we terraform hearts and minds out there, we need our Trek Explorers to reach out to us. Albie, should I tell them how to do that?
Yes, please.
Tell us what you think of this episode. You can go to, of course, our Patreon site. That's patreon.com/Trexploration. Patreon.com/Trexploration. There you can find all of our membership tiers if you'd like to join us, or you can join us there for free. But we try to have our hub of discussion at that site. So go there. You can also just come here to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@Trexploration. Comment in the section down below. You know, where the comments are on the YouTube. You know how it works. Everybody knows
important.
YouTube.
That's important, by the way. Comment. Even if you've commented somewhere else, comment on YouTube so they know you're watching, so we get more views, more likes, that kind of stuff.
Please. You can also find us on the gram. That's instagram.com/TrExplorationPod, or I guess it's @TrExplorationPod. You can find us on Blue Sky. It's trexploration.bsky.social. .y/y. I don't know what Blue Sky is.
Did I put the Y or did they put the Y?
I don't know. Somebody put a Y, but anyway.
I don't think yeah.
So I guess it's trexploration.bluesky.social. You can find us on TikTok. Why? @Trexploration. You can email us. Tell us what you think on the emails. That's trexplorationpod@gmail.com. You can always call us on the phone. That's 707-847-6682. 707-847-6682. Just so you guys know out there, if you want to call but you're afraid that I might answer and say, hey, it's Chris, that rings through to a voicemail, and you can just leave a message there. You don't have to interact with us. I know we can be a lot. So don't let us intimidate you.
I'm not going to call these guys. They'll talk to me for 3 hours about a 22-minute episode of Star Trek.
Exactly. So that's 707-847-6682. Leave us a message there. Tell us what you think. You can also send us anything you'd like to the P.O. Box. That's P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. So speaking of the P.O. Box, I forgot. There's also Buy Me a Coffee. You can support us at Buy Me a Coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/Trexploration. That's if you want to do a one-time donation, or, you know, however you want to donate, you can also do that there. And it seems like we got some new stuff. We got some 3D episodes that are on the YouTube site.
Got another 3D episode up there.
Cool.
The website's getting built up pretty good, Trexploration.com. Almost all of the episodes are up there now. I think we're missing about 10 maybe. Working on it as I go.
Cool. I'll have to go when we're done and edit everything so that it's all uniform. I've seen the feed that you've put out, and everything's titled differently. Everything is
spelled wrong.
I got to go in there and be an editor. I look at it and I'm happy that it's on like a podcast feed, and then my heart breaks because I'm like, somebody needs to edit this stuff. But I'll get there. You'll
get there. But if you go, it looks pretty, and it all moves around and stuff. You got to check that out.
Yeah, it's really sharp. So we have our Trek Explorers and our supporters to thank for us being able to do that website.
You so much.
Thank you. Special thanks to our lifetime member, the Omnipotent Willard.
Omnipotent Willard.
Omnipotent Willard. Thank you, Willard. And also our regular supporters, our crew of intrepid Trek Explorers. They are our cadet, Listen Linda, our Lieutenant Commander, Scott Seligman, Cosplay Dad, and, of course, Captain Charles from Texas. Captain Charles. On the bridge. I know we don't salute in Star Trekky times, but I salute you, sir. And, you know, everybody that contributes with comments and liking us and sharing us, and anybody that is sharing the show, we thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Yeah, it really helps us out. So please do that. We really want to spread the word about Trek Exploration in 2025. That is our New Year's resolution, to bump Trek Exploration up just a little bit above the waters. I mean, whoever thought two middle-aged white guys doing a Star Trek podcast? It's unheard of. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that.
When people find us, they're like, "What? This exists?" I'm in. So you just got to find us. So share. Let your friends know.
Yeah, let your other middle-aged white friends know.
Yeah.
And others as well.
Check us out.
It's funny. We do have our regulars who listen to us, and I got an amazing card from our cadet, Listen Linda, from the P.O. Box. Speaking of the P.O. Box, and I'm just going to show you this right here. You see that? That's so cute with the dogs and the red truck and all that.
Cover any addresses.
No, I did.
Okay, good. Good job, Chris.
Yeah, no, I knew how to pick it up, but So Linda has sent us stuff to the PO box before, but this is a very holiday type of envelope, and I was so happy to see it. So I'm going to do sort of an unveiling here. So
That's
listen, Linda
nice.
sent us this beautiful card.
That
The
is
dogs
nice.
in the red
Oh,
truck.
they're doggies.
Red trucks are a big thing, and it says jingle all the way.
They look almost like your doggies.
Right. So she knows I
Yeah.
like dogs. So Linda is
Yeah.
already pandering to me. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
Just had to hit me in the feels.
Aw.
And I opened up this card, and the last time Linda sent us a card, she had something encased in it that she wanted me to send to Rennie. And there was something encased in this, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to open it, and there'll be something in there for Rennie. I'll have to send it on. But it says, can you read that? It says,
Do not drop.
especially for Chris, do not drop.
Okay.
All right, so we'll leave that for a second. That's in there. So this is not for Rennie, it's for me.
Okay.
And she writes, Albie and Chris and Serenity and Laura and Penny. She included Penny. Thank you, Linda. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus.
Aw.
Listen, Linda. And there are the dogs again.
She recognized my people.
So there you go.
Thank
And
you.
She had Penny. Penny's in there as
Yeah.
well.
Crystal again. Left
Crystal-
out just
Crystal
like
left
I
out.
did.
Once again,
Just
the
like I did.
interloper. It's okay. Nobody has to remember Chris. That's a whole other story. But anyway, but so this is, I was so excited to see what was in this because it's especially for me. It says it right there.
Do
for
not
Chris.
drop.
Do not drop.
Got to be delicate or something.
Do not drop. And look, what did I just say?
Oh no.
And we're live.
And we're
Look what
live.
it is.
It's an F-bomb.
Is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen?
You need to tape that to the front of your monitor
I know, right?
so you know not to drop
I
the
was
F-bomb.
just I was tickled pink when I got this.
Yes.
And it is
love
very
it.
clever, Linda. Thank you very much. You are just the greatest, and
That's
we just love the fact that you reach out to us and that you send us this stuff, and it makes me very, very happy to just get that kind of laugh. So yeah, I will cherish my F-bomb. And it will become part of the background of our.
That is awesome.
That
I
is
love
really
it.
awesome. So thank you very
Wow.
much, Linda. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that's awesome, Linda. Did you happen to see on our face page? Did you happen to see that she got our card and the ornament, the 3D printed?
Yeah. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what you're talking about, because I got our card and
didn't.
our 3D ornament. So for anybody out there who didn't take advantage of this, maybe you'll know better for next year. We said if you're on our Patreon site, just give us your address, and we're sending out some special stuff for our supporters. And Albie, with his new 3D printer, printed a flat, I guess, what do they call it? Like it's like a flat model kit?
They call it a kit card.
A kit card. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was a kit card of the USS Enterprise, and he sent me one too. And I put it together, and it's like an ornament that you can put on your tree. See, it's like
Yeah.
a little hook. And
You put yours together.
I did.
Nice.
There
Was
was
it
a
fun?
piece. There was a piece I couldn't figure out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought maybe it was just an extra piece. I don't know.
I think that's the deflector dish.
I tried to put it on, but it only fit on the wrong way.
Oh.
So anyway,
I don't know.
but it looked great. And we put this. It was the only ornament we had on our tree this year.
Aw.
It's okay. You know our tree. Our tree is not even really a tree. It's like a
Yeah.
little. It's like a little. It's a little display, a little holiday display that we put on the coffee table. So
I know it's silly and it's little, but it's thinking of you.
oh, it's the
That kind of
greatest. I
thing.
love it, and it's so like accurate. Like it doesn't look like a jank Enterprise. It has the right dimensions and everything.
It's done pretty well.
Yeah. So anybody that's listening on the pod feed, come and watch us on the YouTube. I'm holding it up to the camera so you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah. It's like in Cat's Paw. It's just a tiny Enterprise. There you go. You can make your own special effects.
You can
Like
make
the
your own
60s.
opening.
We got I think I saw Tom Quinn posted he got his card, and you know what's funny? Like I should have proofed the cards before I sent them out because misspelling and missing letters and words, but the sentiment's there. Next year I think I'll have Chris send them out.
I didn't even know you were doing it, quite frankly. I think you wanted to surprise me with the Enterprise. So, yeah, you just sent everything out. You said you were doing it, and then all of a sudden, I got cards in the mail myself. And I'm like, oh, I guess that's what he meant.
Did you do you have your card?
I think it's still downstairs by the tree.
I can show a little bit if you want, or should I save these for next holiday season for the for the new
show him.
peeps.
No, show
Okay,
him.
there we go. We got 50 of them. So we still got
Wow.
some left. What did and these the ones that went out with the kit card, of course, went in an envelope too. But it has us on the front. I don't know if you can see it very good in the light.
Yeah, that's our illustrations, and it looks like you got somebody's tweening, and
Yep.
it looks like the skin of evil.
Yep.
And is that what is that on the right?
It's the tree. I think Trevis from Star Trek Voyager, the Flotter holodeck
Yeah,
adventures.
yeah. I don't know Star Trek Voyager,
Because I was
so
thinking like a holiday tree, you know?
it's what you said.
Yeah,
So
holiday tree, and then of course Skin of Evil as Santa, and Mark Twain because it's all about the holidays. And if you look close, then we have the what is it? It's the serpent that Q turned himself into
oh, yeah, okay, that's in 4 point.
for people who celebrate religion on the holidays. And then on the back we have you and me, and you're in your Enterprise outfit, and I guess I look the same as right now, pretty much.
Yeah,
And
and the leg lamp, the
the
glow
leg
of
lamp.
the allure of electric sex.
Yes. And did you notice? I don't know if anybody noticed. Nobody mentioned it that got it. It's a green leg, of course, for like Orion slave women, right? But the lampshade is actually Odo's bucket.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Now I can't unsee it.
I was trying to mash up as much stuff as I could so we celebrated every holiday available.
So that's a true collectible,
Yes. So
a
we
one of
got
a
those.
kind.
And the ones that got my autograph on it a little bit, if anybody cared. But we'll give us your address so we know for next year, and you'll get these same cards. And we'll have to send out the same cards to the other people as well.
Or maybe we'll get second edition cards. You'll have to catch
Ooh,
up.
collect
Every year.
them. Could have a little
Right.
folder and maybe frame them. All kinds of stuff. But yeah, a
Good
little
stuff,
fun
good stuff.
something, right?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
happy holidays to all of our supporters. Thank you very much for all that you do for our show. Please keep spreading the word. Again, Trek Exploration 2025. Let's get
Yay.
it done, people. Let's get
If you
it
didn't
done.
get one, let me know.
Yep, yep. And it's just fantastic that we're here now and that we actually have a fan base to send this stuff to
Yeah,
for
it's
the
fun.
holiday.
It's great.
I mean, who
And
knew? Who knew?
It's like growing a crew, like a little family type crew. Speaking of, what did you think about the crew in this episode?
I thought the crew was actually rendered very well in this episode.
Mhm.
I think that, with one exception, I think pretty much everybody shines in this one. They
Mhm.
get a little something. Even Worf gets something to do besides saying fire phasers.
Yeah.
I think Troy was a little underused. Not Troy. I think Yar was a little underused, but even she was acting like Yar should have acted.
Yeah.
So how about yourself?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the dynamic of the bridge crew. It seemed more like modern day Trek, where everybody has thoughts and opinions and they share them, versus like earlier episodes of Next Gen, where it's just basically Picard talking to somebody on the view screen, and everybody else is hailing frequencies open and on view screen and not really involved in the process. But it seemed like more of a team in this one, especially. When they were talking to the view screen, actually, I think later on in the episode, they all had different things to say and they all were valued. And even like you mentioned, Worf, it wasn't just, him trying to fire at the view screen. When they were doing research, he showed that he had science literacy, which is not something you see from him very often.
True, true. It was a true ensemble feeling piece.
And I love that about it.
And I have to say, I mean, as much as I love the writing in this one, the direction in this one was much more dynamic than we see in many episodes of Next Gen, where they just basically park the camera and you have like maybe the master shot and two or three close-ups. If you notice at the very beginning of this, when Picard orders them to beam down to the colony, there is this amazing, it's just a one shot, it's a dolly push-in shot, and so many people on the bridge are walking to and fro and past and back, and it's just a very dynamic shot with this pushing on Picard with a lot of bridge action going on, and it is a way to bring that bridge crew to life that works for TV, that works for the eye, so it's not just so stilted and static and samey as we usually get in Star Trek. Star Trek has a feel. Star Trek has a look. This actually pushed it into a more cinematic direction. The only thing missing was the camera doing a 360 a la disco.
Upside down, and we'll get that January 24th. The camera goes upside down, 360s. It'll be amazing.
But yeah, I think that all of those elements speak to the fact that the writers who wrote this also understood what makes Star Trek Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that where this episode really shines is it's just this journey of exploration. They try to wrap it into a mystery, which is a little weird, but I guess you need an entree into the story. So why not make Mendel like blustering and hiding something so that we can get onto the station and figure out what's going on? That part's a little clunky for me, but
Mendel was the no herring, right?
yeah. Once you get past that aspect of the episode, which is just very functional, you get into a lot of very quintessential Star Trek ideals. The exploration, the finding new life. Just I joked before, scientific method, the episode, but it was just such a careful exploration of how to do things right. Does that make sense?
It does. They made some mistakes with the scientific method. I think there was. But before we get to that, the director Corey Allen. I know you appreciated a lot of his shots. Was he a first time for us? I know I've seen his name a lot, but I don't know if it starts here or it started earlier.
I honestly don't recall.
Okay, but I know we see his name often in Star Trek. Either that or I've just watched Home Soil too many times.
Yeah, could be.
The only things that I found weird was the blocking of Geordi when I think Data's being attacked. He turns around and walks towards the wall. If in real life in the corridor, he just turns away and walks forward towards the camera to call Picard. And the other thing is when they do the shake on the bridge later, when they're talking to the microbrains, the camera didn't move. And I had to rewind it like 3 or 4 times because everybody on the bridge does the shake thing, but the camera didn't shake. And I was like, did I see that right? And I kept rewinding it and not believing it and rewinding it and kept not believing it. But other than that, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean,
what were we talking about? Scientific method?
Yeah, no, I just feel like for a show that posits a celebration of discovery. That's what, to seek out new life, new civilizations, to boldly go, strange new worlds. This really is like, it's right there on the bumper sticker. Like everything they do here is in service to that mission. And I feel like a lot of Star Trek, like we talk about that stuff, but then it becomes about the conflict of the week. Whereas I feel like the conflict of the week, yeah, they did have the laser stuff and they did have the death, but it was so much just about explorers trying to solve a problem.
The only mistakes I think they made is there was assumptions made a few times during the episode, but I think that was more so to mislead the audience to the mystery. Instead of saying, well, this program had to be programmed by one of the 3 left down there and things like that, instead of just going, well, we don't know yet.
Well, but I feel like that's a good assumption to make. And it's where the red herring of the murder mystery plot, it's the logical conclusion of that, because if the planet has been deemed by Federation scientists to be lifeless, then who else are they going to blame? This is before Geordi and Data discover the light underground when they do their own investigation. So what conclusion are you supposed to draw? Obviously, there's malfeasance here. This laser has been reprogrammed to, quote, have a mind of its own. Somebody had to do it, and there's nobody else on the planet that could do it, so it's got to be one of these 3.
So they were working with faulty data.
Yeah, I guess so, but they were making assumptions based on the reality, and I feel like that's maybe one of the core lessons of the episode, because you have Mendel saying he didn't know. Well, he kind of knew. And Troi broadcasts that he knew something was up, but he just didn't want to cop to it because, hey, The Federation said there's no life here. I'm going
Yep.
to terraform. Terraform,
Yep.
we got to terraform, you know? So I feel like he was being the most, obtuse. What did you call me? Obtuse? Obtuse.
Yeah, he knew
Yeah.
something was going on, but I don't think he knew it was intelligent life. I thought he maybe microscopic, some type of life. But
Yeah.
he got the all clear, so he was going to do his job. And it might have been one of those things, like I was reading into it, like maybe it's towards the end of his career because of his age, and terraforming takes so long that it's either this or nothing. So does he want to give up the opportunity to do what he loves doing, what he wants to do? And I found it weird that it was kind of like a boys' club that the guys knew about what was going on, and not everything was quite kosher. But Louisa didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I have to say, one of the things that struck me when I first watched this episode are there are a lot of big performances. And it mainly comes down to Mendel, who was played by Walter Gotell. Gotell, I don't know. Walter Gotell. He was so grandiose in this episode, right from the get-go, where he's just like, you need to come down. I don't want you to come down. And then Louisa comes on screen and she's like, oh, he's normally very charming. And he walks in and he's like super charming. He's very big. He's boisterous. Like you almost immediately like him. And that was a good turn of character by him. I remember, again, watching this and thinking back to Elizabeth Lindsay's performance as Kim being somewhat melodramatic, like a little too much. What did you think of her performance?
Like in the scene with Riker in the quarters.
Yeah.
I think it was I liked it. At first I thought it was a little over the top for next gen, but not for her character in that situation. Louisa Kim, she's working her whole life to terraform, bring planets to life and help create ecosystems, and she's actually killing the one that's there. So I think if a person their whole life wanting to do this and they actually were doing the opposite, I could see her having that emotion, or any of them having that emotion.
And I feel
They
like she
found
was
that
also still reeling from Arthur's death.
That's a lot of it, I'm sure. Who knows?
Yeah.
They're like what, the 4 people on the planet, right? So you get to know them.
And I feel like they all know each other. And I really liked, I mean, he had like 4 lines, but Mario Rocuso
Arthur.
played Arthur. Yeah, Malachon. And he was terrific. I mean, it's almost like he clicked automatically with Data and Geordi, and they're talking about the problems that they're having, and the water layer. I guess that's where the life is supported, although we don't know its life yet. And it just seemed like scientists talking about very interesting things to them, and it made it interesting to me. A lot of times on Trek, especially Next Gen, the technobabble is just BS to get from one plot point to another. It's just the magic solution. This is one of the few times in Star Trek where I felt like when they were discussing the science, it actually felt like they were discussing real science.
It really did.
And yeah, and there was just such a sincerity about the interactions, and you would think, oh my god, how boring is this? They're talking about a water layer in in between 2 sand layers. But I don't know, just something about the way that they bring it up and the way that they bounce off of each other.
Yeah,
It's really good.
they played scientists well because they had that excitement for what was going on, and also being able to discuss it and explain it to somebody else who would understand what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Geordi and Data come down and they're looking at it and they say, well, maybe it could be this. And he said, yeah, we thought that at first, but so it's not like they were the saviors that came down and saved the
Right.
dumb station personnel. It's like, oh yeah, no, we've been there, done that, and this is what we actually found out about that. And again, it's that back and forth.
Yeah, it was good. They were all knowledgeable, and they were all good at their jobs. It just, I guess, I guess without Mendel, is that his name?
Mendel, yeah.
Yeah, without him going, don't worry about that over there. You wouldn't have had an episode really. But
Yeah, it's one of the things that really made me gave me pause. And I guess maybe it's just sort of the clunkiness of the red herring plot of the murder plot.
I guess you
When
need one.
when Mendel says to Arthur, "All right, it's time for you to go into the terraforming room with the laser," and he's like, "What now?"
I,
Like he's afraid for his life all of a sudden somehow.
I it seemed like he knew what was
Right?
going on.
Yeah.
Like they had malfunctions with the laser before or something, but they weren't sharing that with the landing party. And he was like, "You really want me to do that now? I guess."
Right. It's like you're gonna march into your death, to keep up appearances.
It seemed like that, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
felt that
that kind of to quote Albie Burge, that kind of bumped me.
a little bit.
But I loved Mario's portrayal of the character so much that I really felt bad when he died.
Yeah, poor Arthur. Really,
Yeah.
really poor Arthur. Sad. So that's why Louisa was crying.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I think Riker was making eyes at her a little bit. Beginning of the episode and a little bit towards the consoling her in the quarters. I'm surprised he got up and left at the end of that scene.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Riker's not a douche.
No, he's a good guy.
He's not going to take advantage of somebody. He's not, And I thought it was one of the funnier turns in the episode when Troy is just like, she's an open book. Actually, it sounded like Troy was saying in a very nice way. She is sincere. She's kind of dumb. This is right in your wheelhouse, Will. Why don't you go talk to her? Because it's going to require just a little bit of your charm and finesse because she's not that deep. And it was just like, what is this? All right, I guess. It seemed just like a weird choice, a weird thing for someone like Deanna to say, who can psychoanalyze somebody from orbit. It seemed a bit dismissive. That's all.
It seems strange for me that she sent Riker there because she probably felt Riker have an attraction to her earlier in the episode. But, they're friends, and she's like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, Riker's like making eyes at her throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but I thought she was really good. She was like really good. I liked her acting. I think it was all good. And of course, if the director and the script says you're crying, that you're crying,
Yeah, yeah, and it struck me more in my memory of the episode than it did in the actual moments of the episode. So rewatching it, I was ready to cringe at that scene in her quarters where she's crying, and then I thought, well, wait a minute, no, this actually makes a lot of sense, and it's actually nice to see like people reacting like human beings to tragedy that happens around them, because a lot of times in TV shows, Star Trek is no exception to this trope. Deadly stuff happens all the time for the sake of plot, and then they deal with it almost academically, like how does this advance the plot and where do we have to go next in the mystery. It's nice to see someone take like an actual human moment to the death of a fellow human being who also happened to be a friend.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you don't get that a lot.
Well, normally we're watching soldiers, basically. We're watching
Yep.
military personnel, and these are just a team of scientists, so they don't have to push that away till later and take care of the crisis. They can actually have emotions when they have emotions.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess maybe that's why it stands out, because you don't get to see it that often on a starship. I think that Wesley even asks Will at one point, "How do you deal with it when this?" And he says, "You just do. You deal with it later. Right now, you got to get the job done."
They must compartmentalize very well. And I think that shows in another part of the episode, because I don't know if you noticed, but when Picard was talking to Riker about what seems we have a real life mystery on our hand, he seemed a little excited, almost like it was Dixon Hill.
I love the fact that he just drops the hammer on Mendel. He's just like, "Hey, listen, something's going on here, and you knew about it, didn't you?" And Riker's like, "You came on a little strong, didn't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did." So he was sort of having fun, but I feel like Patrick played this perfectly, because he was just being an authoritative captain. And it could have been a little too heavy, but it wasn't. The nuance on everything he did was just right. I don't know if that's that ineffable thing that makes Patrick Stewart like a fantastic actor.
Now you're saying I'm ineffable?
Yes, you're ineffable. But I feel like Stewart really shines as much as anybody else does. This is Patrick's episode, I believe, and the guy who plays Mendelsohn, I think that he's fantastic too.
There's a lot of feeling that the earlier seasons of Next Gen aren't that good, but I think this one, if you put it in season 3 or 4, it would have fit right in.
A lot of stuff in this also gave me feels for the original series,
Yes, I got a
especially
lot of that.
the uniforms
Oh yeah, I
that they
love
were
the
wearing.
jumpsuits with the
Yeah,
yeah,
the double-breasted jumpsuits. It looked like something out of Dagger of the Mind or something. You
yeah.
know.
Back then they just had a budget, so they were like, another planet, get some jumpsuits. Everybody was in a jumpsuit.
Hmm.
But I really like them, and I always thought they were like all one color, but actually looking in the high def ones now, it's like a nice gray fabric and a light blue fabric, and it's really nice. I was
Yeah,
like, where can I get those?
different textures. The big black boots, the Santa
Big
Claus
black belt.
belts. Yeah,
Yep, exactly.
yeah.
Might have been Santa Claus belts. I don't know. Yeah, it was given me original series just because it was about the idea of exploring new life and science and just enjoying the fun of discovery. And it gave me a little bit of Devil in the Dark. I don't know if you got that from it.
I didn't until I saw you mention it on the rundown.
Mm.
So yeah, I had not thought of Devil in the Dark because I don't know why. It's now that you say it, like how
Hmm.
could I not have? But I didn't.
Hmm.
And
Is there like no kill eye, please?
yeah, no kill eye. I mean, how did the Horta know how to write English? I don't know.
Was that after the mind meld or before?
It was before the mind melt.
So I don't know, unless
The Horta's just very smart,
yeah, they're
right? I
intelligent
guess it was
creatures.
like looking at the station schematics,
Hmm.
but just like the what are they even called? I guess they're the Valarans. Valarans?
Valarans, Valara 3, is that where they
Yeah,
were?
yeah, the Valora 3. So the microbrain.
Hmm.
I like how the microbrain actually reached out and tried to communicate with the crew of the Enterprise because a lot of times again in this it's so very rote where I think that they balanced it again just right. You have the scene in, I guess it's sick bay, in the lab in sick bay, where Beverly is running tests, and they're just like, figure out if this thing's alive, and she's like, how? But
Hmm.
then you see how she figures it out, and it's a very interesting process. I love the fact that Wes was there, chiming in. They're all discovering it as they go.
And he wasn't the boy. He
He wasn't,
was he
yeah.
was a member of the crew.
But then when they cotton to it, they already know that the audience has cotton to it, so they're not going to drag it on for another 5 minutes like a lot of shows do
Hmm.
with this. Oh, everybody is like hesitant and they don't believe it, and then they'll discover it, and then they finally. We all know it's going to get there, so they got there. The second it gets there, they have the lights double into two lights and try to communicate, and so it's none of this BS spinning wheels. It's just like we get to this conclusion. Yes, it is that conclusion. Let's move on to something more interesting than just debating whether or not it's life. We all know it's life at this point.
I was surprised that in 1989 was this? No, 1988. That they were
88.
allowed to show microbrain porn basically on syndicated television.
It's just flashes of light. So
Flashes of light. I
it,
know it looked like a jewelry case jar with some either fiber optics. I don't think they were LEDs. I think they were like some kind
there
of
were probably a couple of
fiber
fiber
optic
optics,
gear.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
Again,
interesting.
how do you beam light? How do you beam light off of a
Are
planet?
are they light or are they no? Because they were saying they were salt and a couple other elements, so they must have some matter.
Yeah,
to
they
them.
had some mass to them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that's
it's
what it
just
was. Where did the other mass come from? Did they turn the energy into matter to make more of themselves?
I suppose so.
I don't know how that works. And how
Well,
did they live out of water when they're supposed to be living in water? And how do they communicate when they use the saline water to communicate?
Well, that's the thing. I think that what happened is they were able to plug into the Enterprise computer and
To
use
get
that as
energy?
their medium for communication
Oh, for
when they were out of the
communication.
water. I don't think they needed the water to survive.
Oh
I
no,
think
I
they
meant
just
to each
needed.
other, or were they communicating with each other through the computer?
Yeah, I guess they could use the ambient
Okay.
energy that's there from the computer as the medium for communication, as opposed to the saline. That's hey, listen, if you're gonna tech the tech or you're gonna go by what they said, it seemed to me that the layer of saline water, heavily salinated water, was just there mode for coming together as a mass consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have another
It's
medium,
basically the synapses between the cells. I'm
right,
guessing.
right.
Yeah.
So if you have another medium to take the place of that, which I guess the enterprise computer can act as that,
Okay. I'll
then
buy it. I'll buy it.
that's the way I look at it. I mean, hey, comment down below if you think we're full of it. If you think we're just ugly bags of mostly wrong.
Ugly, beautiful bags of mostly water. So one thing that kind of made me sad just a little bit is it's showing its age. And growing up, the original series showed its age to me at the
Okay.
time because it was from the 60s.
Of course, yeah.
And, things are different now and we understand things different now. And it's supposed to be in the future. So they would know those things too, most likely. And Data explaining how it was an advanced program running the laser beams. So it had to be done by someone and it couldn't think for itself. And I was like, yeah, and right now everything is thinking for itself. You get a new refrigerator, it's got AI in it and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. That didn't bump me at all because I still don't think that we're there with the AI thing. I know that you live much more with a foot planted more firmly in that future, and it's actually the present. But to me, it's still like somewhere in a nebulous future. And
Yeah.
yeah, we have very different experiences when it comes to that. So it didn't bump me, but I can understand why it bumped you.
I'm odd in a way where like I just watched the Nvidia thing about their new programming language platform process with GPUs and thinking computers and all this stuff and the new processes, and I had to watch it a couple times to mostly understand it. So like I understand how the AI is working and the learning models, but I also think 2015 is in the future. So I'm a little
Right.
bit of both.
Hey, listen, if you or anybody listening to this can comment down below and just give me an AI program that can help me with my staffing allocations and my weekly staffing emails and take that off my plate, let me know what to buy because I'll buy it. I'll buy it yesterday.
I think you can just write that program now with a couple different learning models, large learning models.
You think I don't know how to do that? Again, I don't. I don't live in your weird, funky future.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy that we're in the future. Sometimes I still don't believe it.
I still think that Mendel is back around the corner orchestrating everything. That's what I think. So.
There's patterns in the sand, different geometric shapes, and that was the microbrains. By the way, offensive. But every time they said microbrain, I was like thinking of Q and
Exactly.
Worf. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Yep. I don't know how anybody could fail to think of that, but
yeah, and it's just like that. Maybe that's why they started the war. You're calling us microbrains, but like, why didn't the scientists, being scientists, I guess they didn't share it with Louisa, and they were just all in agreement. Let's not talk about this, because wouldn't a scientist want to know what that is and try to figure that out, even if it meant they couldn't terraform the planet?
well, but that's the thing. It was basically we want to cling to our plausible deniability here, and I feel like Bjorn was a little bit more sincere, but just as culpable as Mendel. Mendel obviously knew there was something going on, but hey, Federation said there's no life. There's no life. Screw it. Where Bjorn is just like, at the time, it didn't seem like it was indicative of anything greater than some kind of coincidence. I'm thinking, how? If you're seeing specific geometric patterns growing and shrinking, and there is some intelligence at work there, no matter how much you try to bury your head in that salinated sand. I can't believe that there wasn't a willful dismissal of what is obviously going on.
Yeah, like even fractals can appear in nature, but you want to know how or why they form, right?
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, this is something to investigate. Are you so hell bent on terraforming this planet that, I guess you are, that you're going to ignore signs of something that might be going on? That's very non Federation. And I think that they made a very distinct, or it's non Starfleet anyway, they made a very distinct line between the fact that they were not Starfleet. And Picard is just like, look, if you tell us we can't come down, I guess we'll be on our way. But otherwise, we're coming down. If that was a Starfleet installation, he would be like, dude, there's someone already there. Because he would have authority. So, and I think they called it like the terraforming fleet wanted to,
I'm
and
not sure,
it,
but I want
yeah,
the outfit. Um, I see narratively why Louisa wasn't informed on any of this stuff. Because if the whole group was in cahoots, it would be more like the scientists versus Starfleet trying to figure stuff out. So this way it was just a smaller group within the group of scientists, but I think Louisa represented the true spirit of what the scientists were supposed to be doing, if that made sense.
yeah, no, she was the Pollyanna of it all.
Hmm. Hmm.
And her Carol Marcus like enthusiasm at the beginning, where
That
to
was
put
straight
sim-
out of
to put
Star
simply,
Trek 2,
Genesis
right?
is life from lifelessness.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
copy paste.
yeah, it
But
really was. It was
what?
so evocative.
Yeah, and that was what 82 was Wrath of Khan, and this is 88,
I think 84 was Rathacon.
84. Okay,
Yeah, I believe. I could be wrong.
I want to say 82, but I don't know.
You're
I'm just
probably
guessing.
right.
But yeah, so and that was such a popular movie that you would think you when you're going through the script, let's change that wording a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe they deliberately echoed it so that it would feel
Maybe
more Star Trekky, like so that
because
people watching.
that was modern Trek, so maybe they were doing a callback to older Trek because it wasn't all older Trek back then, I guess.
I also get a feeling that a lot of Luis's lines were studio notes. Like,
To help the audience understand more,
right, like
kind of.
just Suits saying, "What's Terra whatting now?" Like I joked in the synopsis. I
Hmm.
don't think that there's any true Star Trek fan that was watching this that had no idea what terraforming was, but they're talking to this mythical middle of the road viewer,
Hmm.
and you have to explain this heady scientific concept of terraforming not once but twice. And they made a whole set piece out of it with good props and everything. So I don't mind the way that they did it. It seemed a little overkilly.
And it was episodic television, and it was before streaming, so you weren't going to start at the beginning. So this might have been people's first episode. Like my first episode wasn't the cage or where no one has gone before or Mantrap. It was Cat's Paw.
Hmm.
So they had to explain to me the first time I watched that what the hell's going on. You know?
Yeah, but I feel like again, terraforming as a concept is not that new for science fiction fans.
Or did we learn that from Star Trek? I don't know.
No, I think I learned it from reading books.
Did we learn that by watching Home Soil? Star Trek 2. Okay.
I learned
Well,
it from
maybe.
watching Home
Okay.
Soil. Yes.
Um, yes. Ooh, we got a lot to talk about out of this one. I don't know. I still got more. But I think before we go on, we should maybe take a break.
Sure.
All right. So stay tuned. We got more to talk about, and we got things coming up like Trek and Tells. We have trivia questions. Those are always exciting. Try to answer them before we do,
Hmm.
and a bunch of things. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. All right. And I'm actually going to take a minute and grab an energy drink,
You got
and
it,
I
brother.
will be right back. So you can entertain the commercial free audience, but
Commercial free owners. I don't know if anybody's watching live right now, but
I think 4 people is what I'm
okay.
seeing everywhere. But that might be 2 of me and 2 of you. Who knows?
Yeah.
But then that'll give me a place to cut for the commercial break for when we're monetized, and I'll be right back.
Go get your drink. Oh, so if anybody out there is watching live, we're probably going to try to take a call as well. So if you want to call us, I feel like there's a link or something. Albie will tell you how to do that if you're interested. Linda, if you're watching again, thank you. The card was adorable and amazing, and I love the F bomb. I think it's fantastic. And anybody out there who's watching, thank you so much for being part of our Trek Exploration crew. I still have trouble saying that. I made it up. I made up the name, and I still stumble over it. But anyway, I really want to know what people think of this episode. And I'll say this again when we're back live. But for those of you watching live who might just be hearing this on the live chat that won't be on the recorded episode, please let us know because to me, this is a very surprising foray for a first season episode of Next Gen. It's so solid. And again, Albie and I will discuss this, but I really want to know if I'm alone in that. Is this an outlier? Or anyway, so What did I? Oh, I made chicken coca vin today. So I know that's a little redundant. That's like saying I made chicken, and wine. But I think that's why I'm a little blotchy. I've had some red wine with dinner because you cook it with red wine, and I think it put a flush on my cheeks here. It's my lousy Irish skin. I don't know. I don't know. I've got to get like some kind of toner. I got to get some kind of powder. Some kind of powder to put under my eyes. My big eye bags here. I think I'm aging visibly in 2025, if anybody can see. This is so vapid, but it's what I got to talk about right now. I just get myself on camera and I'm like, what's going on there? What's going on there? Is my hairline still? Okay. I'm so vain. Anyway, Albie, get back with that energy drink. I don't know if I can vamp much longer. I know you say that I can read the phone book and you think I'm great, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody thinks that but you. I think you are alone in that, sir. And remember, that's P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. Hey, and he's back.
I do have a man crush on you. I do have a man crush on you. Yeah, I went pee and I re-glittered my hair just in the meantime. But I got my energy drink, but I had to empty so I could.
Nobody's biting. Nobody's biting. So
I'm sure I'll watch it when I'm editing it. So, okay. And we're back. Welcome back to Trek Exploration. We're talking about Home Soil, Season 1, Episode 18 of Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm Albie. This is Chris.
Hey.
So, anyone without YouTube Premium, thank you for sitting through those commercials.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It helps keep the lights on here at Trek Exploration.
Yeah, I'm at YouTube Premium, so it just fades to black, comes right back.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the constant and limitless energy of matter-antimatter reactions to charge Albie's space station or our microphones and ring
this
lights.
thing takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It charges on solar, but the sun's far away.
So we gotta rely on the kindness and the generosity of
strangers.
Our listeners.
Speaking of Patreon, become a patron. Help us out.
Patreon.com/Trek Exploration.
I think it's actually illegal for us to do this because as careers, because right now we're making cents an hour, I think.
Cents? I think we're making microcents an hour.
Microcents. Oh, yeah. Profit. No profit. We're bad Ferengis, aren't we? But luckily, everyone has been so generous so far. We're able to keep the lights on, keep the servers on, build the website. So thank you so much, everyone.
Right. We're not having to dive into our pile of composting potato skins just yet. But it's coming.
Just yet. Well, I'm saving them just in case. Times are coming. I mean, you click on one dehydrating video and freeze drying video, and all of a sudden, preppers, videos start getting suggested.
Oh, so no. You don't get into that algorithm.
No. You got those new tires, right?
I did. I got 4 new tires. We went up to Vermont for New Year's, and I was afraid of weather.
Oh, yeah, you didn't tell me about Vermont.
Oh, I went to an inn that we go to a lot. We usually go like the week before Christmas. But it was just so busy with Laura taking tests and doing her papers, and I had to prep for Christmas Eve, and it just wasn't going to happen for Christmas this year. But then she got done, and she said, "What about New Year?" And I said, "That's fine. Don't go to Vermont the week between Christmas and New Year, because it is crawling with skiing families with tons of kids. If you're like me and you don't have kids, I have nothing against children." But when I travel, I prefer not to be surrounded by them. That being said, what?
And yet you're dating a student.
I'm dating a student, but she's older than me, so it doesn't count.
Really? I met her in real life, and I did not guess that. I mean, you're handsome and all, but I thought she had a good 5 years younger than you, maybe 10.
Well, she looks great. She looks great. She's less than a year older than me, but still.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah.
So
I always say,
you get the cheddar?
She's robbing the cradle. Yeah, we got some cheddar. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Gotta get the cheddar.
We went through Brattleboro, where you and Rennie wound up.
You went to Brattleboro.
Yes, we did. Yes, we
did. Did you take some time to ice fish?
No, we passed by that lake where I took Penny out on the lake. I think you showed the picture way back when.
Yeah, I didn't get on the video. You have to go to the website to see it. But if you go to the website, the picture's right under the episode.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
But we went by that lake, and there were actually, I thought it was too warm. It was raining. It was pouring the entire time we were there. And it was so warm. It was like 50 degrees. That's why there were so many families. Every place was packed out because nobody could ski. And I don't ski, so usually I'm used to an empty town or, just normal traffic. and everything was just congested and jammed with families and kids, and because they couldn't get on the mountain. So when we're going home, I'm going up. I went there's this Route 30 that goes over the mountains, nice and windy, and I like to drive, but it ends in Brattleboro, where I found that ice and where Penny, and I thought for sure I was going to look and it was just going to be a lake. There were actually people out on the ice fishing. I was like, "There's ice?
Wow.
How is there even ice out there? Are they crazy? It's like
Higher
50
altitude,
degrees and it's
lower
been
temperature?
reading." Yeah, I guess maybe the temperatures get lower at night. I don't know. But
Maybe.
there were people there. I didn't stop.
Maybe it was ice cold for the weeks before you got there.
Yeah. So
Maybe one of those things.
So we did. We
Was
hung
that
out.
did you go through Dublin?
Dublin, Ireland.
Me and Rennie got high, went to Dublin.
Dublin Deck. Yeah.
I forget what state it was in, but it was on the way to Vermont, I think. Yeah, but it was beautiful. Mountain lakes and those windy roads and
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love it.
Gorgeous.
I love being up there. When I become a prepper, that's where I'm going to hole up.
I just wanted to learn how food dehydrators work. And what was it? Technology Connections. You watch that show? Love that guy.
You know I don't watch anything on YouTube but us, and even us is a little sketchy.
Oh, Technology Connections. He explains everything. People out there know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Like, I think one of the first things that me and Rennie watched on that was just like how the reflective tape on signs work. And it was so interesting, an hour of how that reflects the light directly back where it was shine and different things. But yeah, he's great. And he did one on freeze dryers, and I was fascinated. So I kept going down the road, and oh boy, now I'm worried about the future.
Much like this episode of Star Trek, it's about the joy of discovery and exploration. And that's somewhere in your core, I think, because of episodes like Home Soil, because of the message that Star Trek instilled in you.
The scientific
in your
method.
formative years, yes. So
I have a question.
What's your question?
Data. When Geordi's calling into Data, what's happening? Data says there's no time to explain, right? And then like 3 minutes go by with like laser beams and Geordi shouting Data. Data is good at multitasking, and his perception of time is much different than ours. I think he had time.
I think this is a nod to actual reality that always bugs me. It's just something that bugs me about science fiction in general.
Okay.
TV science fiction. There's no way at all that you will ever dodge a laser beam. There's no way at all that you will ever dodge a phaser. It's traveling at the speed of light. It's already hit you before you know it's coming at you. So for Data to be able to evade a laser, there really is no time. He's got to use every bit of his android cunning to dodge something that's coming at him at 70 billion miles per second.
Yes, but I agree. Yes, and sorry, no, yes, but yes, and but damn it, I don't think he was sensing the laser coming at him. I think he was aware enough to sense the servos and motors starting to move and like the laser powering up, and his programming told him, I'm about to get hit by a laser. So he dodged out of the way before the laser beam was even fired. But of course, because he's not going to move at the speed of light or even comprehend at the speed of light enough to move. But I think like once he got out of the way the first time,
he can move really fast. We know that, right?
Once he got out of the way the first time, because I think he thought, hey, something's happening. I don't want to be directly looking down the barrel of this thing while it's warming up. But after that, it was just like, servos and motors turning it, and he could stay ahead of those, but he couldn't stay ahead of the laser. So you're right. But it's plausible. I'll give it a plausible.
Yeah, so maybe he really did have to use all of his android cunning.
But he could talk while he's doing all that, because we've seen that before. But maybe we've seen that after. I'm not sure.
He was breathing heavy. Data does breathe. We've established that, right?
And
Bashir established that, I believe.
Say that again?
I think Bashir established that. That Data breathes.
Yeah. And he's warm now, we know, from the slightly purple Data.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But the thing about it that I thought was also cool was it recognized Data as a life form. But again, it's not the computer doing it. It's the microbrains.
I don't know that they recognize data as a life form so
Or
much as
person?
they recognize data as a threat.
Threat. Okay.
Yeah, so life or not, it was something that was reactivating the laser that was going to destroy their ecosystem.
What do you think about the whole laser part? I mean, like, one, Benson, the Mark Hamill lookalike, mullet Mark Hamill, maybe we'll call him. I don't know. But, like, he was like years of work destroyed, and it was just like a little broken. I was like, no,
No, it was hanging down. It was in tatters. I
yeah,
love the fact that whatever he's holding, he just drops it on the floor and just like he's just in disgust or despondent. It was such a human moment. I loved that.
yeah. So maybe he was being a little melodramatic, the character actually, because I was thinking like the whole processing plant and everything. Yeah, that could take a year. Maybe the software could take a year, maybe the process, but not just building that laser. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I feel like you could probably replicate the parts and install it in an afternoon if you had to.
Yeah. If Worf can make a wedding gift, he can make a laser with a
Maybe it's like
replicator, right?
Starbase 80. Maybe they don't have.
Love Starbase 80. Can't wait till that series comes out. What did you think about again going back to that room and all the Arthur yelling like the whole time?
Yeah, I love Arthur. He had his New York accent, and he sounded like Arm Darvin in Trouble with Tribbles.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah. So the Klingon with the Brooklyn accent, Arthur. Yeah, I immediately caught into Arthur because he sounded like everybody I ever grew up with, and
You might have grew up with him. You don't know.
and he was just again, he was. This is something that I find Star Trek does pretty well in the earlier seasons of Next Gen. It's something that I've found if you watch some more obscure episodes of Twilight Zone. I feel like they have some very veteran actors, whether they're stage actors, radio actors, live TV actors. They come on and their performances are just so naturalistic and so solid, so real that you really think that you're watching the people that they're playing, not an actor acting in that role. That was your whole problem with Sonequa as Michael, I remember. I felt like Mario, Italian last name here, he embodied that feeling for me. It just seemed like a genuine dude talking to two other genuine dudes, even though it was the main cast interacting with a guest star. Again, like I said earlier, the pattern that they fell into was just so natural. It just seemed like, three very interested people discussing a problem. And I think that that had a lot to do with the fact that the actor that they cast in the role of Arthur was just so good. And I think all of the actors here were good. Even the Mendel, who was just so grandiose and ridiculous, pulls it off because that it works for his character. And again, Louisa, who I thought was kind of, BS the first time I watched it, actually wasn't as bad as I remembered. So
I can understand that because watching Star Trek, you don't often see that, but in reflection, it absolutely works. But the guy who played Mendel, I feel like I've seen him before, but it's probably just from watching Home Soil so many times.
yeah, maybe. So the one thing that I found weird in this episode, and maybe where the writers actually fell down a little bit, Troy. I still
Really?
don't know I don't know if they know what to do with Troy yet. They write her so differently in so many episodes. Sometimes she's like super empath, mind reader. She can tell if you're lying. She can tell if you're, if you just have a change of feeling. It's like, how do Troy's superpowers work? We never
She knows
really
if you're
get.
sleeping. She knows if you're awake.
Yeah, right.
She knows if you've been good or bad. So be good for Betazoid's sake.
Yeah, for Betazoid's sake. I mean, so in this one, she is essentially a human lie detector. Or I'm sorry, a Betazoid, a half human lie detector, right?
Yeah,
She's half human.
half human.
Yeah.
Her father was
So-
human.
So, I mean, I know that she's telepathic, and I know that she can read general emotions. But in this one, she's giving Picard chapter and verse of what everybody is thinking, especially Mendel. And what I know that it's very plot driven what she needs to be able to do. And this one struck me as being erring on this, on the side of too much. What did you think, or did that bump you at all? Because
Actually, I went the opposite way with it because there's that theory out there that she has no powers whatsoever and it's all BS.
oh, I don't know that theory.
yeah.
Please elaborate for ignoramuses
That's
like
that's
me.
the theory that basically she's just making it up as she goes along. But in this episode, there was kind of a little bits of proof that she does actually have an ability that we would consider like an extra ability that we don't have. And I think it was Arthur, because she says Arthur's in trouble, or she says whatever his last name is, Mendel.
She remembers it. She remembers it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is in trouble. I have trouble with the two last names because they're similar. Why do they do that?
Melanchon was Arthur.
Yeah. Arthur Melanchon. Yeah, she said he's in trouble. We got to go help him, and she starts running towards them before we hear the screaming. So I was like, well, that's proof that she actually is feeling stuff. And where it helped out in this episode for her to be that human lie detector, which I guess Betazoids are used for a lot. We see that later in what episode is that? Where there's negotiation, and anyway, we'll get there. Season 4, I think. But that's where it also hurts her in other episodes where she just has to completely disappear, because if she was there, then plot wouldn't work, because show wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, because if she's all knowing and omnipotent like Willard, then where's your tension? So that's what I mean. It's like they used her here because it advanced the red herring plot. The quote murder investigation plot of the episode, which was again the sort of, and maybe that's why it bumped me as well, because that was the one sort of janky part of the episode. And
Troi?
Well, no, the murder, like the murder investigation aspect of it. And it's like the whole first 2/3 of the episode, they're still talking about that stuff, and Troi is largely the vehicle to help sustain that. So I don't know if her powers were, I don't know if they were wrongly portrayed here, but I don't know if they were portrayed to the best of their potential here. It was just used as a plot device to keep the, look over here going, and so that we can reveal the life form later. So again, a little clunky. Maybe I'm reading a little too much into it.
See, for me, it just fit better with what I know Deanna Troi to be eventually, than the back and forth of the earlier seasons.
Yeah, and the only thing that I see Troi become eventually, unfortunately, is Captain, what is it? That's like, yeah, that's like her whole line, It's because nobody knows how to write. At least they were trying to do something with the character in this.
This one was written very well.
Yeah.
So I and she shined. She wasn't in the background. She wasn't, I could see why Denise Crosby was like, you're not using me enough, because in this episode, like you said, she didn't really do much, but that's what her role is, just to be there.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, I can see Denise being a little bit feeling that she got the short end of the stick here, because, Beverly has a lot to do in this episode. Deanna has a lot to do in this episode, and all you get is Yar saying, I'm going in. And that's it, and beam me up.
A few things about Arthur and about the landing team.
Okay.
Why wasn't Beverly on the landing team? They need to bring a doctor with them in case stuff happens. There's always like a doctor on the landing team, usually some medical personnel.
You got to think it's a pretty insular. No, I think that the original series just established that because they like Bones as a character. I don't know that you need a medic to go down to every land, especially if you're going to a station with 4 people and there's really no potential danger, so to speak. Why
no
would
life
you
on the
take
planet, right? So there's no real threat.
No apparent threat anywhere. You're just going for a tour. It'd be like taking a doctor to a museum. Right?
What's the coolest tour you've ever been on?
The coolest tour I've ever been on. I once went to the Statue of Liberty with 2 dear friends from Florida.
and you walked up into the torch while your friend was on the first and second floor looking for you, out of breath, and he finally decided to sit on a bench.
So that's probably the coolest. No, the coolest tour I've ever been on was going to Petra. So. That's nice. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That must be amazing. Did they sell like souvenir Holy Grails there and stuff?
No, they didn't sell anything in Petra. It's outside of Petra where they sell all the crap, and I avoided all that stuff. So.
Indiana Jones jackets and hats and whips and action figures.
Right.
Probably, right? I would. So,
how about you? What's the coolest story you've ever been on? Was it to a terraforming planet on
no,
on Valera 3?
Before Ellis Island, because I think Ellis Island was amazing, which I also went with a friend, and Rennie. It was really cool, and there was no walking up flights. Well, there's that one stairway which was pretty tall, And I was like, really? But we did it. That was probably the best Ellis Island. But before that, I would say I took Rennie on a tour of a water reclamation plant, and
Okay.
they let us walk over the scaffolding of the raw sewage, like big, huge, those tanks of raw
Wow.
sewage, and it just
Yeah.
smelled of feces everywhere and urine. And I was like, this is where the poop goes. Because she asked me, where does the poop go?
There you go.
We went to a water reclamation plant and took a tour. Listen, Linda is on board.
Island,
What did she say?
I hope you saw us feature your card, and of course the amazing, beautiful F-bomb. And we're live.
And we're live.
And listen, Linda
she
writes.
says-
She says, "Albie, the reason you recognize Mendel is because he's from the James Bond movies. Was he Blofeld?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
he Blofeld? Is that where we know him from?
You are right. As soon as
No,
you
Mr.
said that,
Bond,
my
I
brain went
expect
boom, boom,
you
boom.
to die."
Wow. Okay. Good
So,
memory, Linda.
There we go. So
Nice.
now we know. Now we know. Maybe we should look this stuff up before we get
Maybe.
on mic. But then we wouldn't have Linda give us the joy of discovery.
Yeah, it's a crew, and we can't just rely on us. It's a whole crew. We're a team.
Yes. This is a collaboration.
Thank you, Cadet.
Thank you, Cadet. Yes, you're going to get. Maybe you'll get a new pip for the 2025 season. We'll see.
Maybe if she leaves us a 5-star review on iTunes, possibly Apple Podcasts, they're gonna get something, right, Chris? We don't know what.
Hey, we've spoken to Linda many times. We already know she's a pip. So
That's where I know him from, James Bond. Okay, cool. That's awesome.
cool. You sound like
Cool.
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Nine-Nine.
Nine-Nine. Yep. Lately, that's been in my vernacular, so I don't know why. So much in this episode. The ending. Let's talk about the ending. Let's talk about
Yeah, I think we got to start wrapping up, right? People
where
gotta
it
start-
stood up for you and where it fell down for me.
Okay, yeah. So you tell me. I mean, I liked the ending because they came to a détente, and it wasn't like, okay, now we understand the humans. So we're all going to be friends. They're like, okay, now you recognize us. You're still a bunch of jerks. Get off our planet and don't come back. Don't come back for 300 years. I think that is an amazing ending because Picard respects that and doesn't try to foist himself. They're just like, no, we want peace. We see you now. We think that it's amazing that you exist. You're like nothing we've ever encountered. And they're like, tell your story walking, jerks. And Picard's like, all right. And they put the cones up around the planet and say, don't go. And that's that. What about why did that fall down for you?
Because it was so copy paste from so many endings of the original series to me.
Wow. See, I don't.
You're
find
not
that at
advanced
all.
enough yet. Come back in so many years. And I was thinking to myself, these little points of light, these little micro brains are so much more advanced than the warp capable ship that got to the planet. How is that possible?
I don't think it was about their level of advancement.
Okay.
It was respecting their wishes. From their point of view, they were more advanced than we were. So if that's what they believe, and this is their home planet, and they're saying stay away, whether or not their perception of our advancements in relation to their advancements is accurate in our eyes doesn't make a difference. It's what they feel, and the Prime Directive says, do no harm. So if that's what you feel and this is what you want us to do, we have to respect your wishes. Just because you think you're more advanced than us, and in many ways they probably do. It's kind of like a hive mind. They were able to take over the Enterprise computer and almost destroy the ship. They could have destroyed the ship at any time they wanted to, from what Picard was saying. So that, to me, speaks to some level of advancement where no wonder they feel superior. I mean, we found your technology, we started to eat your technology, and then we duplicated. So
Are they individual life forms, or are they just like brain cells in a network that's one huge life form in this layer of salt water?
I feel like the second one.
Right.
like
So how are the four in the jar doing all this communicating?
Because show.
Oh, that's a good reason. No, I just remember like a guy in a gown with a laurel saying "Come back in 3,000 years" on the original series. Which episode was that? Who knows?
I think that was that the Gorn episode.
Was it, or
Yeah,
was it the one
Arena.
where
I
the
believe
rocks turned into Abraham Lincoln?
it was Arena. No, the ones with the rocks. That was more of the rock creature trying to test them. Like that was more of a. But I don't know if that. I think that was just for fun and profit, like with the Quatlus and the Gamesters of Troskelion.
What about the one where the guy had the goatee and he was two people from parallel universes
Oh,
fighting?
What of Lazarus? I almost
Yes,
went
What
to
of
the What of
Lazarus.
Lazarus line during my, but that was just interdimensional traveler. That was not even. That was nothing.
Okay.
So
For me, it was just a little too, eh.
see, and I feel like Kirk would have, gone down there and Kirk food them and put them into some kind of logic conundrum.
It would have been like, let me help you fix the laser.
Right. Let's blow these assholes out into space.
But yeah, I guess I could see that because cultural bias, like they're both going to think they're more advanced than the other. I think we're more advanced because we got there, and they think they're more advanced because these life forms are just coming and trampling on them and not even realizing what they are.
Right. So from their point of view, we're stupid, and they've tried to telegraph their presence to us in many different ways, in ways that they discovered that we should be able to understand. Think of it like that. Like they're in this subsurface layer of salinated water, and they're still able to express themselves to us in a way that they think we can understand. So obviously, they're able to come in and take over our computer systems to make the lasers deadly against poor Arthur. They're able to do geometric shapes and patterns that are probably completely alien to anything they've ever known before, but they know that it's something that we would recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that speaks to a great intelligence, to a very highly developed sense of the world around them in a way that we can't comprehend. Just like we couldn't even comprehend that they were there because it's such an alien life form. It's inorganic. I don't know if that is an actual thing. Is like silicon life inorganic? Like would a Horta be inorganic because it's made of rocks? I don't know.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. That's a good
Like what does
question.
inorganic mean? It means, I guess, no carbon.
Not carbon based?
Not carbon based.
Right.
But if the Horta is silicon based, does that make it an inorganic? Because these are like crystals. Isn't that silica?
But they say in this episode that they haven't ever encountered a non-organic life before.
Oh, I understand that for the purposes of the episode. I'm
Mhm.
just now I'm extrapolating. What does inorganic life mean?
If you or
it's-
someone else knows,
yeah,
let
please
us know.
let us know, because I don't know. I just don't know.
All right, so I broke the ending in my head, and you fixed it. Thank you, Chris.
Well, you kind of broke it for me a little bit.
I'm sorry. So we averaged out.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
But overall, pretty good episode. But we'll talk about our final thoughts and ratings in a minute. But what else do we do?
Where are we at on the? Let me look. I gotta look.
Okay. Do we
I
have
gotta
any
look.
callers? Now would be a time to call, and you
Yeah.
can interrupt our trivia or Trek and Tells and final thoughts.
Yeah, please, anyone calling. But Albie, who's your episode crush?
It has to be in this episode. I almost went for Kim because I really enjoyed her performance.
Okay.
But me being science nerd boy, already having a crush on Beverly, when she invoked the scientific method, did it for me. So I'm going to go with Beverly Crusher.
All right. I'm wondering why, because when one of the only other guests cast that was listed by name as the female engineer, who I guess interacts with Riker when they're discovering that they can't put a force field around this thing. Her name is Caroline Barry, and you put like a little heart next to that on the rundown. I thought she was going to be your episode crush.
You said the quiet part out loud. I just thought she was cute. It was nice to see another new ensign in engineering that I had no idea. And one thing I did like about her, did you notice what she said?
I don't recall.
She mentioned restrooms on the Enterprise.
Oh,
And
yes.
that's something that never gets mentioned in Star Trek. I don't think before or after, does it?
I'm not sure. I read
Because
it once
everybody who
in
says,
a
where are the
book.
restrooms on the Enterprise? Where are the bathrooms? You know, and we've seen other things where they kind of out of canon explained it, I think, with blueprints and stuff. But she said the programmer's restroom.
Okay.
They're trapped in the programmer's restroom. And I was like, oh, they got toilets.
I mean, do they have a special key? Do you have to have like a little transponder in your arm to know that they're programmers? Or
I'm guessing it's just the programming section. There's guys down there in keyboards and old IBM, computers, tapping away in BASIC, maybe C++, who knows? Programmers, that's another thing. We're not going to need programmers anymore because they've already programmed the programs to program programs.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's another thing that kind of dated it. But maybe there are other kind of programmers that we don't understand yet.
Crystal clear.
Maybe they're just people making up a program for the dramatic readings.
But they are manifestly a life form because they have to excrete. And
yes,
Beverly
exactly.
said that you have to do that.
That's one of the reasons.
Maybe that's why they already brought up excretion, so you might as well put a bathroom in the episode.
Well, that's when they were talking about organic life. So inorganic life, they weren't sure. So the replicating and what was the other thing that inorganic life has to do? Communicate. That was one.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. We'd have to. Somebody now drop that part of the episode here.
Yeah. Do we have any xenobiologists in the audience?
Right. Please let us know.
Let us know.
Jirok's poop.
Were they excreting? I don't know. They were replicating.
Yeah, you're right. So I don't know. My episode crush had to be that giant planet prop, where they were, I guess.
Yes.
Forecasting what the terraforming would look like. That was one hell of a prop.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Was that the one we saw in Generations or different? Because you thought it might have been.
No. I don't recall. I thought that the stellar cartography was my favorite thing in Generations.
Oh, we were talking about like the props on the star station that they were over in Data was doing Mr. Tricorder.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think it was maybe just the blinking and flashing and blinking. I can't take it anymore. Maybe it was one from Airplane 2.
So your episode crush was what?
Piece of technology.
Okay. So see, we are different in different ways. So I had to decide between Kim, Carolyn Berry, and Beverly Crusher, and I went with Beverly Crusher.
You always go with Beverly Crusher. So
Not always.
What was your favorite part of the episode?
My favorite part of the episode. It's gonna sound silly, but it was when Picard lit up because he had a mystery to solve.
Okay.
Yeah. So I, just that little bit of excitement and that not the boring, dull walk and talk on the bridge to get the exposition out and to set up the Because episode, which is a lot of season 1 and some of season 2. But it was more of like that feeling almost of the Dixon Hill episodes coming back, or that excitement, even though it was because it was based on a tragedy with poor what's his name?
Paul? I don't know. Who? What?
Arnold? What was his name?
Arthur.
Poor Arthur. Yeah, I got to remember he's a drunk. That's how I remember.
Right.
Yeah, but it was based on a tragic thing that happened. And that's another thing I didn't mention. I'll go there. I'm a very scattered brain, but I want to mention this. He dies, right?
Yes, he does.
They don't run in the room. They don't say, emergency medical personnel transport down. They don't say, emergency beam him up. They're like, well, he's probably dead, so, we'll beam him up eventually.
No, well,
poor Arthur.
What they had to do, though, I guess, to get a lock on him or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. They could have beamed him his body up without. I'm sure they could have locked on. They didn't want to go in the room because they thought it would still be too dangerous, right?
Freaking laser beams.
Make sure that the lasers were powered down somehow. Mm-hmm. So, and then that's when Yar, rushes in and says, "To the beam to sickbay."
But they were standing right outside the door.
Right. Why not just throw
what's the range of a laser?
Or just throw the comm badge.
Exactly. Toss this comm badge. Beam anyone in range within a 5-foot range of this comm badge immediately to sickbay. But they're just like, he's older. He's got the New York accent. He's balding. Sorry.
And Riker said, from the looks of it, he's dead anyway.
Well,
it was like Scotty saying, "Sir, he's dead already."
Maybe when they wrote it, they envisioned something much worse than just like a bruise on the head. I don't know.
I know he looked pretty messed up to me.
Yeah, so it depends. But I just thought, at least try, right?
I guess.
Because even if he's not going to work, you got to say, I tried everything I could.
Well, my favorite part of the episode
What was your favorite part of the episode, Chris? Sorry, my tangents.
had to be Walter Gotell as Kurt Mandel. I loved his performance, and now I love it even more that I have the Bond connection with him.
That's probably
again,
why.
he was just so wonderfully grandiose in the episode. Very charming. Anytime he was on screen, it was just a pleasure to watch. So good on you, Walter. I don't know if you're still alive, but he was
Was
terrific.
amazing. I especially liked the part where he had his thing and he knew he wasn't quite doing the right thing, but it was like, maybe we're killing the equivalent to like a mold or a fungus. But when he found out it was intelligent life, you could tell his emotion shifted into like instant remorse, if that makes sense.
I guess only because the jig was up and he couldn't give up his
Because he got caught
Yeah, exactly. His plausible deniability just went
out the
away.
window. Out the window. The other strange thing. See, I'm just doing cleanup here. Is did you notice the ADR, the looping?
No, you had written that on your notes. I honestly I didn't. But a lot of times I don't notice that.
Well, I'm a lip reader a lot of times, so if they don't sync up perfectly, Elizabeth Lindsay, Louisa Kim, for some reason they looped her lines in the lab, but only her lines, and in the conference room, but only there. Don't know why. Maybe
Okay.
she wasn't projecting enough. Maybe the mic wasn't sensitive enough to pick up her sounds she was making out of her mouth, so they had to reloop it. Who knows? But it just seemed like it was weird. It was her both times, so interesting.
They used to do a lot of looping on Quantum Leap too. So
Yeah.
Allison used to point that out quite a bit.
And I guess back in the day when the TVs were so small, it really didn't matter to be like, oh, we'll catch it later. But now with larger TVs and higher definition, they try to get it on the day, I think.
It's out and Z.
Yeah. All right. So what do we do next, sir?
Trivia for you. I'm asking you 3 questions.
You got me for 3 questions.
For everybody that's listening along at home or watching along on YouTube, see if you can answer quicker than Albie. So, are you ready, sir?
I am ready. 3 questions.
All right. First one. What is the name of the woman Kirk marries in the Paradise Syndrome? Come on.
Taylani?
You know this.
Is that right?
Say again?
Taylani? No.
It is not Taylani.
What is it? Who is she?
You're on-
Who is she?
Miramani.
What was it?
Miramani.
Miramani. Who is Talani? Was that who he married in the books?
Maybe you're thinking of Antonia.
Maybe. I think he got married when he was like half Romulan Borg, didn't he? After he died?
Taylani. I don't know. That does sound familiar. Someone tell us where we're getting Taylani from.
Yeah. So what was it? Miramani?
Miramani. Yes, she was.
Okay.
She was the
the Pyramid Princess.
the Native American seeming culture
Yeah. That was a good episode. An odd episode, but a good one.
with Kirok.
Kirok. He had amnesia. Coconut fell on his head, and he got radio signals in his
teeth.
filling. Yeah. Exactly.
And then the skipper hit him with his hat.
Exactly, and fixed it.
And then Miramani was pregnant, and then everybody dies.
Everybody died.
In the motion picture, The Final Frontier, why was Cybok ostracized from Vulcan society?
Because he embraced his emotion?
Ah, yes. I mean, I'm going to take that because that's exactly what I would have said.
Okay.
He sought to find meaning in emotions as well as logic. So I guess that's another way of saying he embraced his emotions.
Okay, he could have just moved to Romulus, right? And been just chill, right?
Okay, you're going to know this. If you don't know this, I'm sad for both of us.
I am sad right now.
Which professional wrestler made his acting debut in
Pause.
the Voyager episode?
I cannot to this day pronounce that episode. It's random typing on a keyboard, as far as I understand it. It is Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yes, it is. Even I knew that.
That is a weird coincidence. You know how these cards are like tarot cards, but for real, they read our minds?
Yeah.
Well, we've been printing out different things, right? And the one thing Grogu wanted printed out was this. You see this?
Is that The Rock?
It's Dwayne the Frog Johnson. It's like a 3D meme thing going on. They put the Rock's head on like all different things.
Okay.
And this is Dwayne the Frog Johnson.
Gotcha. Well then.
How is that on a card? The Rock out of all these cards. That's crazy.
I don't know, man. What's your trucking self? Give me.
So I got 2 out of 3.
You got 2 out of 3.
Winter is coming. I don't know if you know that. Winter is coming.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. So
2 out of 3.
you've done worse.
It rhymed.
Uh,
I haven't seen that episode.
Did you say what was the name that you said?
Taylani, I think.
Taylani.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where am I getting that from? I'll have to look that up later. Winter is coming. It's getting cold. I don't know if you saw it. I sent you a screen cap of the local weather. It's 57, I think.
Thank you, Ned Stark.
Yes,
yeah,
it's going down to 42 in a few days, which I'm excited about. Going to watch The Shining. I always watch The Shining on the coldest day of the year, so it's more immersive. So The Shining.
You have too many rituals.
Well, Joey, he put the copy of The Shining in his freezer because it's so scary.
That was the book, though, not the movie.
That was the book. The movie you watch when it's the coldest out. Like when you can see your breath in the house, then it's time to watch The Shining.
If you can see your breath in the house, it's time to pay the heating bill. Go ahead.
It's a Florida thing. You don't turn the heat on because it's like twice a year, and then you got to call the fire trucks because of all the dust on the elements. So you just don't turn the heat on ever. You make it through those 2 days with blankets and stuff. But and really, going to turn the heat on in Florida? Come on. Anyway, just in case I need it, I have.
Ooh.
It's not a blanket.
Is it like a...
It is a Snuggie.
I was going to say, is that you can get that on late night TV, right? They still make Snuggies, huh?
Oh, I don't know if they still make it. But I got my jacket on now. But it's a reverse jacket robe, basically. You wear it backwards. And it became a blanket. I don't know.
It's essentially it's a blanket with sleeves.
Yeah, I guess so you could work your phone or the remote. Yeah. It's a backwards robe, but I think it came out in the 90s, Chris. I don't know. But yeah, it's a Star Trek Snuggie.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I get to use it maybe 2 times a year.
All right. I could probably use it.
I'm planning on using that. Do you have a Trek and Tell, sir?
I do. One of my coworkers bought me a whole bunch of Star Trek stuff, and this one's going to make it onto the back wall here. I'm going to...
Is this new?
Now.
They bought it for you new?
They bought it for me. They bought it for me for a holiday, for whatever reason. I guess because they're very generous and thoughtful people who I work with, and they got me a Starfleet Command mug. Isn't that awesome?
Wow, I like
really
it.
Nice, right? The two-tone with the handle and the white, and that's a real nice rendition of the... It almost reminds me of something out of The Cage because the star is very small in the Delta.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's a really neat mug, and I'm going to put it in the background.
All right. No hot cocoa out of it first?
I don't know. Maybe next time we're doing like a hot cocoa thing on air.
Okay.
I
like that one. I haven't seen it, and I don't have it. That's really cool.
Maybe I'll move Nipper here, and I'll put the Starfleet Command mug. We'll
there
put
you
him
go.
on top of Frasier.
Where does Nipper go after that?
So now Frasier's officially become Captain Bozeman, right?
Bozeman. Does that sound right?
Bozeman?
I don't know.
I think Batesman.
Batesman. Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman. He becomes Captain Bluth.
Bluth.
You okay? Wow. You really like that one, huh?
That was so good. All right. I amuse us. Or you amuse us. You amuse me.
I amuse you. So that's my Trek and Tell.
That is a cool Trek and Tell.
It's part of my background. So thank you.
Who do we have
thank
you for that? Is there a name attached to that?
Yeah,
or no?
Lewis. My coworker Lewis, yes.
Thank you, Lewis. Shout out. Hopefully they're watching it.
Shout out to the Lou crew.
All right. Oh, I do have this one thing I 3D printed. I haven't painted it yet, but I'm like looking through Star Trek stuff.
Wow, cool.
Do you recognize this one?
Is that the one from the alternate future in Voyager? I want to say it is.
They did use it other places, but it's mostly Future Imperfect, the Next Gen episode, where Riker wakes up and he's old.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's 2 parts, so I can paint it separately. But I'm printing out all kinds of comm badges, stuff like that. I printed this out. Got a couple prototypes. Do you recognize it at all?
I certainly do. I think I coined the name for that.
You did, the hockey puck hand link.
That is the hockey puck hand link.
Yeah, so these are available online. I'm designing my own right now because it's not quite screen accurate, but it's fun to hold.
So for any Trek explorers out there who are not Quantum Leap fans, the hand link is the doohickey that I have right behind me here as well. Yeah. They recreated it's the device that the hologram in Quantum Leap uses to communicate with the computer Ziggy.
Caitlin Bassett.
Caitlin in the revival series was the hologram as Addison, and she had a completely different, like a hand link 3.0,
Mhm.
and it was more of a palm held thing that Albie has. We dubbed it the hockey puck
Hockey
hand
puck
link
hand
on
link.
the Quantum Leap podcast. I'm hoping that stuck around fandom. I don't know. That's
Uh,
my one contribution to fandom outside of foreknowledge.
when I was on the prop boards, some people were calling it hockey puck hand link, but like one person called it the disc hand link, and I was like, ooh, they weren't a listener.
Yeah, like screw that person.
But we got the hockey puck hand link, and I think that was because one, it looks like a hockey puck kind of, or an Alexa, right? Oh, everybody's thing just lit up, and also in the original series of Quantum Leap, they hit a hockey puck in every episode somewhere,
I
right?
don't know if that's apocrypha. Like, have you ever seen? Has anybody gone through and taken screenshots of the hockey puck?
That I do not know.
Right? I don't know.
I
Is
was
it
just told that by people that worked on the show.
hockey puck settings as opposed to radio settings?
Yeah, maybe
Make
that's
it
a thing.
happen. Make it happen, internet.
We could do that. So yeah, I've been having fun with the 3D printer, making all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna
Action figures.
say. I know you're trying to clean out the house, but you seem to keep just making more and more stuff to trip over.
I told Rennie that when I realized it when we started making things, like Rennie made this is a dummy 13 it's called in silver. I made the La Femme model because I'm lonely. So that's a girl robot, right? And I realized we have too much stuff. Like we have a lot of space, but it's filled with stuff. And then I just bought something to make more stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't think it through.
yeah. You have an illness.
But now I have at least the beginnings of a hockey
Hockey puck handling.
handling.
So yeah, you
handling.
have fun. I'm not saying that it's
Yeah.
a non. It's a fun illness.
But I'm learning Blender to make my own hockey puck handling.
Cool.
So that'd
That's
be fun.
awesome.
Yeah. So that's our show and tells. What else we got to do? Any cleanup, final thoughts? You got anything on your notes that you haven't talked about yet?
No, I mean, my notes were almost just a blow by blow of what went on in the episode. Most of the stuff that happened in this is kind of by the numbers, but once again, it's. I guess if you want me to start going to some final thoughts, just a very good example of what Star Trek does when it's at its best. I think that the exploration of new life forms and the process of scientific discovery really is at the core of everything that Star Trek embodies and tries to represent. And I think this episode ran with that. So, say what you will about first season, but once again, a very interesting outing for a much maligned season. I think that this episode stands up with any of the best episodes of Star Trek.
Wow.
And I'm going to give it 4.5 ugly bags of mostly water out of 5.
I love it. 4.5 ugly bags of water out of 5. Now, I don't know if you saw my rating I wrote down before we started. It's different now because you've enlightened me.
Yeah, I got to look. I didn't see it, but
Okay. But you've enlightened me, and I've added a whole extra point because the ending I was like not happy with and kind of like, eh. But now that you talked me through it, and now that we talked together about it, I'm actually going to mark it a whole point up. So I'm going to go, before the rating, I'll talk about it. Enjoyed the episode. Love the camaraderie among the crew. I love the interaction. I love that everyone was used. Except for, of course, Yar. But I mean, I guess you can't have everybody. But I just love the feeling that everybody was a part of the team, and it wasn't just the three of them, or focus on two people. But it really took everybody to figure this out, and they were all on board. And even Worf got into the sciencing and stuff, which is great. He wasn't just killing things or shooting at things. So I'm going to give it 4. That's an uptick from what I originally did. 4 photoelectric microbrains.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Microbrain. That's why they're trying to kill you. You call them microbrains.
There are 2 lights.
There are 4 lights.
So, well, yeah. I'm glad that I was able to elevate your opinion of this episode. I just keep finding more and more to like about season 1, and
Aren't you sad you stopped?
I stopped so that we could start again. So
That's true.
Yeah, And I did get through season 1 all the way.
I mean, originally,
Yeah.
when you were like, F this S.
No, you know why? Because I think now I'm in a much better position
Okay.
mentally. I'm much more open-minded than I was. I probably would have been
Open
looking
your
for
mind.
excuses back then to dislike it.
Really?
And that's all I would have done is dislike it. Yeah, because I was like an asshole. So, now I'm much more open.
Like one.
Let's let's just call it what it was.
Okay. Yeah, we were all closer towards that when we were
I
younger,
was
I'm sure.
I was an entitled fan, and I thought that my way was the only way, and I don't think like that anymore. And I'm glad that I don't think like that anymore because I'm finding so much to like, and so much to discover, and it's actually quite a joy. So I'm waiting for that turning point where next gen turns into the next gen that I dislike, and it's a coming. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when that tipping point is reached.
What if this time going through these and appreciating them one by one, when you get there, you actually enjoy it?
I will be as pleasantly surprised as anybody else listening. You don't have to hear me with my screed.
But I've been enjoying your newfound love for next gen.
Well, I mean, it's all due to you, sir.
Thank you. Before we close everything out, I'd like to just again say Elizabeth Lindsay as Louisa Kim, standout performance for me. Really appreciated her work in this episode.
Cool.
Okay, what else do we do, Chris?
Well, we got to tell people how they can tell us what they think of this episode.
Yes,
What is your
that's
rating
very
out of
important.
5? You
yeah,
can tell
feedback.
us on
Do
our
we have any feedback?
Patreon site.
Or did we already do that?
We already did it.
Okay.
You can tell us what you think about this episode, patreon.com/Trexploration. You can also comment right here down below on the YouTube channel. You can hit us up on the gram at Trexploration Pod. You can blue sky us at Trexploration.
Blue
You
sky,
can
smiling
email
at
us,
me.
trexplorationpod@gmail.com.
Blue skies.
Call us, 707-847-6682. Try to do like the computer simulation of the Valerian lights, ugly bags of mostly water.
I can't believe no one has left us a voicemail yet. We've got
Okay.
listeners, we've got views, we've got subscribers. We've got 148 subscribers on one platform and not one voicemail. Either the voicemail's not working or we're not checking it. I'm not
Flash
sure.
that number, 707-847-6682. Somebody call us. Just let us know it's working.
Crew, call us. Leave us a voicemail. That is an order from your co-first officers.
Captain Charles is somewhere saying, yes, I approve of this message. P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. That's where you can send me your very own F-bomb like I got from Linda. Thank you, Linda.
Amazing gift. Apropos.
Gift. I love that gift. You can also support us, Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/
And you'll drink it out of your brand new mug.
Exploration. Just remember, any comments that we get will almost certainly be used on an upcoming episode of Trek Exploration. And speaking of upcoming episodes, Albie, you have to tell me what's up next because I forgot to update the rundown. So what is season 119?
Well, what's coming up is Coming of Age. And normally I don't know what's coming up next, but I do know in this case. And that's because they've already agreed to it, have a special interview guest for next time's episode.
Oh my gosh, it's our first Trek Exploration interview.
There it is, but there happens to be a close personal friend of mine, a person that I really love as a person. And it's crazy that you say that, but you meet these people and talk to these people and get to know them and converse with them for years. That was instrumental in the making of this episode and parts of the Star Trek universe coming forth.
Wow. Well, I can't wait.
And that's all I'll tease.
For the big reveal on that one. Even I don't know who you're talking about. So this is going to be
You don't
fun.
read my text.
This is gonna this is theater of the mind, man. I know who exactly who it is.
You know who it is? Okay.
Of course I do. Stop it.
I can't wait.
No, I have no idea. I wonder who it could be.
Let's just say I'm a friend and a fanboy of this person.
I can't wait to be surprised.
Yes.
Along with the rest of the audience. See, it's an authentic experience that you get here on Trek Exploration.
Yes. Any longtime Trekaholic listeners or Quantum Leap podcast listeners might have a clue, but it'll be a nice surprise. And speaking of coming up episodes, we have a Captain's Table coming up, right? A Captain's Table?
I believe so. Didn't
Yeah.
we've been discussing it with Captain Charles. He's
Yep.
a busy man. We need to get his availability.
Yes.
But I believe you said it was probably going to be sometime the week of the
The week
13th.
of the 13th. So
So we got to figure that out.
all Patreon members are invited. So keep an eye out and keep an open availability if you have time. And anyone current or former members of Patreon, because the founders too are invited to this captain's table. So as many people as we can get that were members, patrons,
Yeah.
past, present, and future.
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's do it to it. This Captain's Table is going to be about what the end of
The whole series of Lower Decks is
LDS.
probably focusing on more the final season, but of course we haven't done other captain's tables for Lower Decks, so we can talk about all of it. What we like, what we
Groovy.
didn't like, and other Star Trek going on. There's a lot of news, a lot of things happened in 2024, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And at the helm will be Captain Charles.
Can't wait. I haven't spoken to Captain Charles in quite a while, so I'm looking forward to that reunion and to meeting and speaking with everybody else who decides to join us for that Captain's Table. Keep an eye on. Go to the Patreon
It'll be on the
site.
Patreon, and it will be for members only, getting the links and the
Yep.
information.
So join us. Join us on patreon.com/Trexploration, and you can be in the party. You can be in the loop. So,
Yes, I'm excited.
all right. Well, there's a lot to come. A lot to come. Good way to kick off 2025. A great episode of Next Gen. Many more things coming. Interviews and captain's tables and lots of fun. And then Section 31 is going to bring it to a grinding halt. But we
Yes,
shall persevere.
You never know. What if it's a direct copy of Home Soil? We don't know. It might be good.
I think I know. I think I know.
All right. So I'll be watching at 3 a.m. on the 24th. So
I'm
we'll
sure
see.
you will.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's your anniversary. So we'll see.
No, it's my dating anniversary. My actual anniversary is the 22nd.
When you have a woman as special as Laura, you got to celebrate both. I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah.
You are
Well,
excused. I think Captain Charles already agreed. So,
gotcha.
but
Thank you.
we'll have a good time talking about it whenever we do.
We should do it on the 16th. That's my birthday. We should do it on my birthday.
Is that before the 24th?
Usually 16 does become, before 24.
Time travel. Yeah. So look forward to our Star Trek Section 31 review on January 16th.
There we go. Now I'm talking about the captain's table.
Oh, the captain's table. Oh, there you
Yep.
go. On your birthday, I didn't buy you a gift. I didn't bake a cake. Well, if I baked a cake
You
now,
did.
it'd be.
I have the gift you gave me right here.
Oh, that was for holidays.
It's fine. It's close enough.
All right. And if you didn't get your holiday card, let me know.
Nope.
Send us your address, and I'll get it out, or I'll get another one out. I got more of them. Okay, so I think that's it for Home Soil.
Yep.
I love talking to with you about it, and it was. I can't wait to talk about Coming of Age, the episode where Wesley tries to get into Starfleet, like school and stuff, right?
Doesn't he fall in love with a shapeshifter?
No, that's the dolphin.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be surprised at Coming of Age.
I thought it was that one. I thought it was the one.
No,
with the girl.
this one has the blue guy with the vapor breathing.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, and they're all like trying to get into Starfleet by taking an exam and stuff. And there's so much stuff.
So much
You'll
stuff
enjoy
goes
it.
on.
You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
Yes.
I predict.
It's all coming back to me now, and I can't wait to talk
It's
to you
all
about
coming
it
back to me now.
on the next episode of
Trexploration. So for Trexploration, I'm Albie,
and I'm Chris.
and we'll see you next time.
You ugly bags of mostly water.
You are a beautiful bag of mostly water.
You are a handsome bag of mostly
Thank you.
talent.
I've been working on my avatar. I don't know if you see. I'm trying. Do I embrace my age, or do I go try to act like I did earlier? I don't know what to do.
This is as beardy as I get. Laura can't stand facial hair, so
Yeah. Well, I found that a lot of women don't like men's faces, and I have a man's face. I
gotcha.
don't know what to do.
I know a lot of women who prefer beards, and I show them
That's
a
what I'm
picture of me
saying.
with a beard. They're like, "Oh my God, you're so handsome," and I say, "Well, my wife likes the baby face. What can I tell you?"
I was
So-
watching When Harry Met Sally on New Year's Eve, and you know how like part of the movie he's got a beard because he's in a depression because his wife left him and all this stuff, and then he shaves later on, and then Meg Ryan as Sally likes him better without the beard. So I think that's why I've never had the beard.
Gotcha.
But the beard Boimler thing, I seem to be getting some looks maybe, but I don't know if it's like, why are you wearing a Star Wars shirt and a Star Trek jacket? I don't know if it's that, or is it like he's a handsome man because it looks like he almost has a chin now.
I think it's
don't
the
know.
second one.
Might go with that. So I don't know. I'm still working on my avatar. But for everybody in the live audience, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was a great time. And build more robots. Robots.
And get those F-bombs.
F-bombs. That was so cool.
So cool.
I gotta say a bad word, so I get a wooden thing. Laser cut.
Nope.
Okay.
That's
Nope.
for me.
That's all
That's
you.
that's a Chris exclusive.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Good night.
Night. See you next time. I got to hit the stop, and it goes on for about 5 more seconds.
Later, skaters. Later,
That was really
skaters.
cool. That was like.